Okay. Should be live right now. Hello. And good evening, or morning, or afternoon, or wherever you may be in the world. Hello. We are live. Okay, well, at least I now know that my video is of decent quality. Or, well, probably not decent quality, but hey, tweet this out. Here we go. Here we go again on my own. Going down the only road I... Hello, brainstormer of pulp culture. How are you today, sir? I hope you're having a wonderful evening, morning, whatever the case may be. It's been a while. All right. So here we are. I wanted to see if some other people wanted to join me, but so far, no nibbles yet, but we will see what happens. But I'll wait a little while before I actually get into talking about some comics, some manga, and whatever else I decide to talk about today. Depending. But we got some fun stuff to talk about at least. So it's time to brighten everybody's day with my presence. Hello, Dalton. How are you? How is the authenticator this fine Friday? I hope everyone's doing okay. Hope everyone's safe. Hope everyone is staying as much out of chaos as humanly possible right now. Whether you're in the US or outside the US, depending. Hopefully you're staying out of any chaotic situations and being safe, being smart. I hope. But you're fine. That's good. That's a good thing. Dalton, you wanna hop in stream with me? I can send you a link if you want. I could do the same for you, Brainstormer, if that's what you want to do. But just let me know, guys, because I am all alone tonight. Apparently, I guess people are focused on other things. All I got from England Teens chat group was a picture of food from Vankman, so I have no idea what's going on that front. Lighting is okay, but not my favorite. Okay. Okay, yeah, I'll put that picture up for now. Okay, give me a second, Dalton. Invite. I think I already copied this, but I'm going to do it again because I can. All right, there's the link, Dalton. If you want to hop in, feel free. It wouldn't hurt to have somebody to keep me company while I talk about the books that I read. And of course, people are free to share whatever comic books they've read, comics, manga, or if you want to talk about a show you watched, whatever the case may be, anime, TV. Eric is here. I see an Eric. Hi, Eric.
Nightwolf?
There's a lot of freezing. Is that on my end, or is that... I can hear you now. There was a delay on a really bad one, probably on my end. How are you?
I'm doing good. I saw you put out the clarion call, and you never know what kind of riffraff is going to respond.
Speaking of,
I did. Hey,
as
Dalton,
if on
how are
cue.
you? That was perfectly timed, by the way. Perfectly timed. The clarion call, and the authenticator appears. So how is your guys' days going?
No complaints.
Yeah, it could always be worse, and 2020 continues to be a clusterfuck. But you know what can you do?
I mean, what year isn't a mess at some point?
Well, yes, but at the same time, like it's almost as though someone took the last decade's worth of like historically notable entropy and jammed it into a single year.
Wow, that's a lot better. I was going to say 1988 was good.
Yeah. Okay, sure. Yeah. The 90s weren't too bad.
Oh,
Could have been worse.
Well, you'll have to fill me in on what happened
was
in
the-
90 and 91. I don't remember those.
I can't remember.
Silence of the Lambs came
My
out in
memory doesn't go far
1991.
that back.
Take your word for that.
There you go. There was a positive. But
it
I was
swept
going to
5
talk about
Oscars back when the Oscars actually
comics
mattered.
and manga that I was
did
reading
things
today.
based on-
There we go. That's better.
Good, thank you
The
for
side
that.
panel view looks weird.
Okay.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I just was
Are
also
you
like,
just
this
referring
looks-
to? Are you just referring to Eric being in the side panel?
No,
Look,
just in general.
the side panel
view
don't do
looks
me
weird.
any favors.
Nope, no, I don't think any panel does
No!
anybody favors. Look at me. I'm really up close and personal here. I'm far closer than Eric is because I'm right next to my desk. So this is a much better
Wow.
angle. Hi,
Dalton
Tally.
looks just as good.
He looks good at every angle. Let's just be honest.
Yes, he does.
Well, my camera is off at the moment, but you know, thanks
Of course,
anyway.
of course you would. When you're just a name and a name and a logo. Of course you are going to look good no matter what we do.
All right. Well, to be fair, let's see if that lasts when I turn on the actual camera here.
Oh, you don't look that bad. You look fine.
I probably could use
You
a
look
haircut about
fine.
2 months ago, but whatever.
Damn, I'm 36 years older than you, and
Yeah,
I couldn't
that's
grow that
true.
much facial hair to save my life.
Well, ever since
Some
I was
people
like
are
13 and I started getting peach fuzz, I was determined that one day I would have a beard and I would have a handlebar mustache. And I have slowly worked towards that for the last decade and change.
That's good. Got to have goals, right?
So, Knight, you were trying to say something about 3 or 4 of our interruptions ago. Would you like to have another go at it?
That's a good question.
I will just say hello to Joan in the chat and to Helium. How are you guys doing? Good to see you. Yeah, I was just talking about we're going to talk about comics today. I was hoping everybody was cool with that.
Yep.
What was I gonna?
Hey, Dalton,
And I was
going
gonna
to
ask you guys if you guys had
in
any.
your honor.
Oh,
Good book.
Dalton, you look like an announcer from the 1980s, according to Jonah. I think that's a compliment. I think it's the bow tie.
I'm sure it is. It's one that I've never gotten before. Well done.
Wait a minute, is that typo? It says 1980s, so you sure you didn't mean 1890s?
Yeah, that's sort of what I was thinking too. Like I could even see like 40s or 50s if we're being extra generous here, but nothing in my get up here particularly screams 80s. I don't quite have that much hair yet.
Well, I mean, if you were like maybe a ring announcer or a referee from like the WWF and whatnot, I think 1980s might be appropriate.
Yeah, well,
I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure those guys wore like bow ties on occasion. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just guessing.
I mean,
at the very least, a ring announcer probably would.
Yeah. Anyway, what year was that Dr. Fate comic there? Green?
88.
Okay, so that is before the Spectre went nuts and killed all the magic users, and Nebu had to sack up and sacrifice himself.
Well, this could have
So-
taken place at any time because this Secret Origins series was basically DC's way of letting Roy Thomas continue to work after they screwed him over on the All-Star Squadron. So he was just retelling origin stories.
Okay, so it's a retread of the more fun comics 67,
More or less, yeah.
which was the origin issue, I think.
That's cool. Mobile Fighter G Gundam. Yes, Jonah. I now I'm remembering the announcer wore a bow tie too. Now you've reminded me. Thank you for that.
Bow ties are cool. Everyone should wear bow ties all the time. If I ran the world, that would be my first degree. Everyone, all the time, bow ties. It doesn't matter what else you wear, but yeah.
I prefer not to. I hate wearing colored shirts for long periods of time.
Well, I mean,
anyway,
you can always go the classic like penguin route and do black and white.
Go ahead.
Even though,
yeah, I don't want to look like a penguin. Sorry. Not my
well,
favorite
I mean,
thing to do
that's
every
what
single
Englandine
day.
is for.
So you're saying you have higher aspirations?
I don't know. Are my aspirations any higher? No, probably not. Okay, so I'm going to talk for a bit. I have some of the Amazing Spider-Man from Nick Spencer over here that I recently read. I think it was actually last week, not this week. But I have issue 16 through 19, the issue 20 side story with the Vulture, 21, and issue 25 here. So I don't have all of the Hunted storyline, which I'm a little sad about. But
well, because it's Nick Spencer, I have to phrase this way. How badly did he fuck up?
Actually, he's been doing very well with Spider-Man. I think he's far better suited to this character than he was to Cap or to probably anything else he's ever written.
He fucked with my guy as well there.
Yeah.
So yeah, Damnation,
Yeah.
literally aptly named, unfortunately.
To be fair, Wolf, you don't really have an ass to begin with. Are you sure about that? I'm a big boy. I think Jonah is insulting me.
I can't see that. I can't see the chat. In what context was this thing uttered?
Oh. Okay. I think it's in reference to the collared shorts comment that I made on accident.
Oh, okay.
I meant shirt, but I said shorts for some ridiculous
to be fair, I don't think any of us could pull off colored shorts. That's a little too
As
well, I don't know, Dalton.
flamboyant even for me.
I'm a few years away from colored shorts, dress socks, and dress shoes. So yeah, at least in my age group, that's what I'm supposed to ease into.
Which brings up the question: given how I dress at 25, how stereotypically old will I look when I eventually do get to old age? Assuming.
I think you'll age like a fine wine. If I'm being honest, I think you'll look even more dapper as you get older.
One can only hope. One can only hope.
You'll be the fashion version of Benjamin Buttons and just go in the opposite direction.
No. I'll probably be one of the last stereotypically old-looking men if I ever make it past 60, which is a big if, but never mind.
Yeah. Hello, Shinobi. How are you? We're talking about Amazing Spider-Man, and people are making fun of me in chat, which I highly appreciate. Thank you for that.
Well, I mean, it's one of the most fun things to do in a Nightwolf chat is just started to lambast my host repeatedly.
I'm kind of disappointed in myself. I'm so much nicer to Nightwolf in person than I ever was in the chat.
I think you're nicer to everybody than in person than you were in the chat. From my memories of getting trolled by you in the chat all those times, yeah, I could can confirm. It seems to be universal.
I guess I did
Yeah,
have a bit
probably.
of a dickish persona on.
Just a bit. You were everyone's favorite troll. You were a troll, but we loved you anyway.
So, Knight, tell us about this Spider-Man story. Convince the two doubting Thomases with you that Nick Spencer is doing justice to our arachnid hero.
Talking about Amazing Spider-Man, then we sidetracked a bit. There's a lot of cutting out, and I'm wondering if it's on my end or if there's just some buffering issue. It could be both.
I think it might just be some buffering issues.
Then look at my. Last Ronin was awesome. I think I saw the cover. Probably. I believe that's an Ninja Turtle comic book, isn't it?
Yes.
The Last Ronin. I think I saw the cover of it. It looked like a TMNT cover of some kind. I don't know what it's involving. A revolving door of comics.
I think the mystery is which one of it
Spider-Man,
is the last
Nick
Ronin.
Spencer. I think he's been doing a very good job so far. Definitely a step up from the last. He's definitely better than Dan Slott. I think he understands the character way better. When I was reading like the first few issues, I felt like I was. What was that, Eric?
I didn't say anything.
Uh-oh.
I think you cut out a little bit.
I thought you did.
Yeah.
Oh, that's probably me then. I apologize. It's your end, Wolf. Well, gee, thanks, guys. Nothing I can do about it. I wish I could, but I cannot. Maybe there is a. I'll believe that when Peter and MJ get back together. They already are back together. They've been back together since the beginning of the story. I don't, unless you're referring to them being married again. That hasn't happened yet. No.
Something needs to occur to strike that deal from history.
MJ playing a pivotal role in the story again as a supporting cast member. Yes, that would be very nice. Maybe that's what they're working towards. I don't know, because I haven't had a chance to get to issue 50 of the series just yet. Unfortunately. Because apparently he's been building up this new villain of some sort that knows Peter's history exceedingly well. He knows him personally. He knows all of his friends, his enemies, and he's been terrorizing all of them, including the villains. He tried to kill Mysterio and failed, but then managed to track him down again and terrorize him some more. He terrorized Kingpin. I don't know who else he's been messing with. Oh, it's on 720. Well, gee, thanks. Turn off the cam a bit. Be able to save some of your bandwidth. That is true. I can do that. There. Maybe that'll be better. We'll see what happens, if that helps the bandwidth or not. It might not. But
you already sound more clear.
Let's see. Oh, thank goodness. Good. Sometimes I prefer to be off camera anyway. So
is that a new avatar there, Knight? I missed your old one.
It's not my official one, because I don't have that picture anymore because my old laptop died. So I haven't had any time to be able to retrieve. I don't even know if I can retrieve it.
You probably could just screenshot something from any of your old videos or an old stream and do it that way.
Yeah, that might be an idea. I was considering updating it, but I haven't gotten around to that. I've had all this time, but I've been occupied with other things that I just have.
As a focused group of one, I want to cast my vote for return to the classic avatar.
I was just going to update the original one. I wasn't really going to do that much of a difference, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. There was one time when I considered to change the avatar into a tokusatsu style character, but I wasn't too sure if I want to do that or not.
Aha.
I've considered it, but I'm not sure.
Anyway, you were saying new villain terrorizing all the old villains, and we don't know quite who he is yet.
Yeah, and I've actually been generally surprised that that the story's managed to keep him secret for so long. Since he's gets all the way to 50 before he's revealed, apparently. I haven't read that far in. I've just been reading sporadic issues that I managed to pick up online for a good price. So I have no idea.
Honestly,
the hints and nods. He just seems to really know stuff. I don't know why, but
honestly, every time there's a new mysterious villain for Spider-Man, I keep hoping they'll do something with Judas Traveler, because he appeared, I want to say, in the Clone Saga for all of 5 minutes and was all big and imposing and important, and then he was nowhere to be found ever again.
You're right. He existed for like one story arc and then he was gone. But I don't think it's Judas.
Honestly, Judas Traveler has always struck me as he is too overpowered to be a Spider-Man villain. Anyway, like he strikes me as someone who should be maybe in the vicinity of Thor or a Doctor Strange villain, but like if they want to keep him as a Spider-Man villain, at least do something with him, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, do something like maybe something akin to the Beyonder or something would be interesting. Maybe.
Yeah, it's been a while since we made a substantive addition to any of the like expanded cosmic entity canon of the Marvel universe anyway. So why not? Or hell, have it be a guise of Mephisto just fucking with him for the sake of fucking with him. That would be a nice touch, considering how everyone in the Spider-Man fandom feels about Mephisto vis-a-vis One More Day.
For a portion of time, I thought that this individual was Mephisto, just under a different guise, but I don't think it is.
They did reveal him in issue 50, right?
Yeah, I think Tehillium told me that he was revealed in issue 50 of who he really is. I would prefer it not to be spoiled, so don't spoil it for me. I've been enjoying the mystery so far, though there doesn't seem to be very many bread trails. It's just his power is incredibly weird. He seems to be maybe on a different plane of existence. I'm not sure. But the weird part is that Peter can also sense him, because that's what happened in The Hunted. Peter is sick after his last confrontation. He's not well, and he goes off and he finds out that all the major themed villains of the Marvel Universe that have animal themes have been kidnapped by Kraven the Hunter. And he tries to track them down, but he ends up fighting Kraven's clone, for a better term. And while this is happening, he senses that there's danger also with MJ. Like somebody is going to hurt Mary Jane. But he wasn't 100% certain if it was the smoke that Kraven's clone used or if it's something else entirely. But all he knows is that something isn't right and that there's danger somewhere. So how Peter can sense this, I don't know. That's a new one.
I mean, if they wanted to really do some massive fan service, they could bring back the version of Madam Web from the 90s series.
I'm sorry, what, Dalton? I got sidetracked.
Well, you mentioned that this character seems to be extra dimensional, and I was saying if they really wanted to do some massive fan service and make the fans like die of happiness, they could bring back the incarnation of Madam Web from the 90s animated series. Because she's kind of famous for extra dimensionally fucking with Peter for his own good.
Yeah, I don't know if it's extra dimensional. He seems to create some sort of strange illusions that involve centipedes. That's all I know. He just shows up. Apparently some people can't see him when he's present, and then some people can see him when he's present, especially the villains that he's directly engaged with in the story. but what his overall power is, what his intentions are, aside from trying to ruin Peter's life, I'm uncertain. And he doesn't seem to be directly involved. He's just kind of toying around a bit in the early issues. He doesn't seem to be directly involved in anything except for the death of Mysterio. I don't know if that's going to change in other parts of the story, but
that's interesting. That is very interesting.
He knows Peter personally. That much I can confirm. He does know Peter personally. So it's probably someone from Peter's past, potentially. Who it is, I don't know. It's not an Osborn. At least I certainly hope it's not an Osborn, because it would be weird if they went with a centipede motif all of a sudden.
Yeah, that would be odd.
Yes, very odd. Although I did see what they did to Norman.
Oh, what now?
Issues later. Now he's bonded with the Carnage symbiote. Apparently,
the Osborn,
like the guy wasn't unstable enough. I don't know if he wanted to catch a break. He seemed to want this for some reason.
Well, I mean, Norman is kind of infamously not all there, so that probably has something to do with it.
Yeah. And by Jonah, I saw your link. Good job. You got a really cool looking laptop, by the way. Thanks for sharing. Hopefully that allows you to do more work, more art and whatnot.
Also, speaking of
the one thing that was really interesting.
Sorry. Speaking of art, Joan, I know I didn't ever like pay you for it or anything, but you did mention doing some art for me a long time ago. I don't know if you remember that. It's fine if you want to just completely forget it. It seemed odd because you kind of disappeared for a while there.
That happens sometimes. Just try and DM her again. I got that link for you so you can upgrade later. I don't need to upgrade. I've got a beast of a computer. It's my internet that's terrible. Because I have to keep my computer upstairs instead of downstairs where the landline is. Uh-oh. I gotta put Dalton back in. You're
StreamYard's being weird, I guess. It yeeted me from the call.
Yes, it did. Yeah, I don't need to upgrade. The computer I'm using right now is strong enough as it is. If I can stream video games on it and play some pretty recent titles on it, I think I'm okay. I don't think it's the hardware. I think it's the internet. I just wish, well, maybe I should try getting another. My brother has a Wi-Fi repeater that he put in his room so that it could repeat a stronger signal. So maybe I should move that one up, get myself one and move it up here so that I can hopefully have a better signal, because I can't connect to the landline up here. That is just not physically possible right now. Anyway. What am I thinking here? Oh, yeah. They did bring Vermin back again for the Hunted. I did appreciate that nice callback to the original Kraven's Last Hunt. I just really wish that we didn't have a Kraven.
Mm-hmm.
I've been busy with my life and have been a mess since that day. I'm not going to lie. I haven't forgotten about it at all. Oh, okay. I would tell you what's happening if I could. Okay. Well, at least Dalton and I have an explanation. Real life stuff's got... Yeah. Real life stuff happens.
Yep. It like I said, it's fine. I just was curious if I had done something wrong or if you decided not to go ahead with it or what the deal was there.
I'm trying to remember what happened in issue 25 because they made this extra large issue for Spider-Man. Oh yeah, this involved this villain finding the real Mysterio again. And Peter. Oh yeah, because this was a continuation after the Hunted, because the Lizard is now now trying to hide or go into hiding. Dr. Connors was trying to hide to protect his son and family because he was afraid he was going to kill him again.
Like apparently. You do, yeah.
Didn't the Lizard eat his son?
Yep.
Once upon a time,
he did.
How did he
during the
get over that?
Run. Yeah.
Someone rebooted the universe again.
Magic? I don't know.
Someone.
I'm gonna go with
turns the universe off and back on again, like they always do.
Of course they did.
But
well, I mean, it is post all new, all different, so it is technically a different universe, a very, very, very stupid universe. But never mind.
And I wish they would just come out and say
that
this universe started with all new, all different, so that those of us that cared about everything that came before that could just, ignore this.
Once again, with universal reboots, the problem becomes what's canon, what's not, what elements that I care about are still intact and what aren't, and the whole bit.
Yeah. But yeah, this is where this comic actually shows the individual actually having direct influence on Peter's life by giving MJ an opportunity to start her acting career over again by hiring Mysterio to do it. And then they have, what is this? Oh yeah, all the female supervillains known as the Syndicate bring on the new female Electro, which is interesting. Because I think I did read a couple of issues after this that did have those characters involved. Interesting as it is. Oh yeah, there's a section with J. Jonah Jameson meeting with Spider-Man. That was kind of a fun story they did on the side.
Oh, Jay.
Oh! Well, yeah, Jonah now knows who Peter is, so... But this might make Dalton happy.
I can't quite see that.
It's Doctor Strange. They ran into some sort of extra dimensional beings, and Spider-Man goes to meet Doctor Strange.
Yay!
Yeah, Doctor Strange is in issue 51, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, maybe he has some more involvement too. That's good.
Because
he was involved in One More Day.
I really hope they return Doctor Strange to his role of kind of being the universe's fixer, because I've always harped on with Doctor Strange that, like, if he's doing his job, you shouldn't know he's there, because his job is quite literally to make sure the laws of physics don't become the strongly worded letters of physics, as I always put it, or the civil ordinances of physics. So, if he should basically be the timeline and the sense of reality's fixer. He should be the guy you call when reality is on the fritz. But God only knows if Marvel can remember that ever.
Yeah, I completely forgot to give the link to Helium. I am so sorry. I was busy talking and I completely forgot. If you're still here, you're welcome to join us. Sorry about that. I'm sorry. So, did you guys want to talk about any comic books you read this week? If any?
I read a few. Anybody else reading the Deceased books?
I haven't had an
caught
opportunity to read
couple
any of them.
but I've not been paying attention to the event as a whole. I knew it was kind of the DC equivalent of like Marvel Zombies, or trying to be.
Well, yeah, I would say as far as storytelling goes, this one is better, but it's different. I mean, it's in much more of a serious vein. I mean,
Okay,
Marvel
so
Zombies is a comedy.
they're not just basically doing an Elseworld of what would happen if they were if there was a zombie plague in the superhero universe, kind of like Marvel Zombies did.
Right. This is more. Well, it's is grand in scope, but it's kind of interesting because they've killed off the second issue of the first miniseries. They killed off Batman, and they have killed off killed off Superman, Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm.
They've all been replaced with John Kent is Superman, Damian is Batman, but it's more of a believable way than just giving it to us.
It makes more sense in context than just we know what you want to see, so here's some fan service.
Yeah, more or less.
My Aussie buddy is
Shabbat shalom and gadale.
Hey, Dilliam.
Let me do this. Let me do this orally for once. Hey, Tillum.
Good to see you, Eric Green.
So, how about you, Tillum? Have you read anything this week that you want to mention?
Actually, just before I was catching up with some comics that I have not read for quite a while, and have been sitting in the drawer. So I've been reading some James Tynion, Win, Department of Truth, issue 2, which jumped into the area of like satanic ritual killings, that type of stuff. Very interesting. What's the next issue going to be addressing in it? It's not Flat Earth because I've already covered Flat Earth. False flags. Or false flag events. I also caught up with Wind issue 5. Very interesting ending, and there's going to be a sequel to that run. Sorry for the spoilers, if anyone's reading it.
No, you're good.
I didn't. You're fine. I just didn't understand half of the titles we're talking about.
Wind is a title done for Boom Studios, written by James Tynion. It's sort of like a coming-of-age story. Similar to his horror one, which is like Something is Killing the Children, which I've also finished. The latest.
Yeah.
And just before, I caught up with some Batman Beyond. Finally up to date with all the issues.
That's pretty good.
My most recent comic was revisiting V for Vendetta because, of course, yesterday was November the 5th, and you do. Am I echoing horribly?
You were for a minute.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think so. Not
I heard my own
do.
voice back through the mic, and it was like, wait, what?
Oh, wait, hold on. I think that might be Tehelium.
Okay.
Is that you, Tehelium? That's causing that?
I don't see it.
Oh, I don't know.
It's customary to blame the new guy.
Must have. I don't know what's causing it.
It appears
to
be gone now, so it shouldn't be a problem.
Okay. All right. So you were saying what comic book you were
Speaking
reading?
of V for Vendetta, which I actually did a review on the graphic novel on my channel. Go ahead, Dalton.
I revisited the comic and the movie because yesterday was the 5th of November, and remember the 5th of November and all that jazz.
Oh,
So that was nice. I've come to the conclusion that even though V for Vendetta is an amazing comic, when you get right down to it, it was one of the first comics to be infected with Alan Moore's insanity, in the sense that V is basic.
are you sure about that?
In the comic version, V, sadly enough, is basically superhero Antifa, and it becomes really, really cringy when you consider that he's basically superhero Antifa. In the movie, he's more of a classical liberal, and it's obviously kind of a commentary on the excesses of the Bush administration, but it works for pretty much any context, which is why I think that, sadly enough, I think the movie, at least in terms of saying important things, is better than the comic. Just because Alan Moore was batshit duo even back then.
Good comparison between.
I have mixed feelings about Alan Moore. I don't love him, but I don't hate him. At least not all the time. It depends on what's going on.
Like
The pot shots he's taken at Steve Ditko, however, I don't like.
He keeps saying increasingly stupid shit. Like, just the other day, I covered on the podcast I do with Brainstormer every week. He's still saying stupid shit about how the superhero genre is only for kids and how he's ashamed of how he impacted the superhero genre. And I'm like, Alan, you do know that basically you lucked out and became an immortal writer in the comic book industry. And you've done nothing for the last 20 years but shit on the comic industry and the superhero genre. Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah. He's really good at that. He is that's definitely his crowning achievement, is shitting on the thing that he helped popularize. I don't know if I've seen a more jaded creator.
And
except for maybe on occasion Tomino, because Tomino was pretty jaded for a while too.
I don't know, because Alan Moore, man, takes the cake on multiple levels.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. What else we going to do? I think I'll move on to the other comic book, which I did mention I would talk about, which is Ultraman, or the Rise of Ultraman, issue number, because I actually managed to read this, and I've already read issue 1 and now issue 2, and we're still not at a kaiju fight. And I'm a little disappointed that we're not at a kaiju fight. I get what Kyle Higgins is trying to do here. He's trying to build the characters. I understand that, but it's dragged out for a lot longer than I feel it should be. I will say this book does have a bit of action, like a car chase scene and whatnot, which definitely helps improve it over issue 1. But the only thing that's going on with Ultraman is him talking to the human that shot him, and them potentially talking about, bonding and becoming one. And that's it. That's pretty much the issue. I can't really add much else.
So you're still in the mode of. So you're still in the mode of, like, I was promised kaiju. Where are my kaiju? God damn it. Kind of.
Yeah, at least a full appearance by Ultraman, like in actual physical form, would have been nice, But I don't get much of that. I think I was more upset with issue 1, mainly because there was a lot of filler stuff that actually didn't need to be there. In particularly, there was some little side story that involved the organization they're a part of, and its history, like in the 30s or 40s, somewhere around World War One, and I'm like, okay, I don't care about this. Why is it in this comic book? Because it doesn't show up in issue 2. So I don't know what its point is being there. I do like that the guy that what is this character's name? I forget his name. What is your name? What is your name? Main character, Shin. I do like that Shin is talking to Ultraman or the Ultra, and he's talking about their history as a race. For newer comic book readers who maybe never heard of Ultraman before, that's probably important information. And saying how the kaijus are created, and that Earth is going to be involved in a kaiju crisis. So it's building towards something, but it's just taken a really long time to actually get to the point where we're actually hanging out with Ultraman and then him fighting kaijus.
It's just like, make with the kaiju already. Everything is better with kaiju. Make with kaiju. I was promised kaiju.
They'll probably spoil it all on the last issue. It's right.
Probably.
Alas.
The last issue will be the kaiju fight. I guarantee it. at the pace they're going, because this is only supposed to be a 5-issue miniseries. At the point that we're going, or at the pace we're going, the kaiju fight will be at the very end. I certainly hope it'll be worth it.
So it went to the Godzilla 2009 or was it 2012 school of keeping the kaiju away until the very last possible second, and not realizing that that's what people got.
Are you referring to 2014?
Was it 2014?
You're referring
earlier
to
than that.
2014.
But yeah, whichever is the most recent or second most recent iteration.
The most recent one
Godzilla,
was 2014, and then
the sequel, which was much better by several orders of magnitude.
Yes, yeah. I did like King of the Monsters a lot better than the first one.
The 2014 one, where it was like dour, grim, depressing, humanistic bullshit, and then 5 seconds of Godzilla, and that was all right, I guess. And then Kingdom of Monsters was like, I know what you came for. You came for kaiju and color and shit. And it was like, oh my god, why couldn't this have been the first one? Fuck you.
Well, they still kind of botched the coloring and the lighting because they spent a lot of time in a lot of very dark places. And a lot of fog.
I grant
probably
you,
to hide the special effects of the CGI monsters, but
I grant you King of the Monsters could have been better, but like it was so much better compared to the 2014 one.
No, I agree with you on that. It's definitely better. It was kind of funny. It was like the reverse complaint when the first one came out. They complained we didn't get enough of Godzilla and kaiju fighting. Then they give them exactly what they wanted with more kaiju and fighting. It's like, no, we don't like this now. We want the other thing. The humans in this movie suck even worse than the last ones. I'm like, there is no pleasing you.
Yeah, I was for the record not one of the people making that complaint. I was on board with King of the Monsters from the word go. Like I'm just like,
yeah. The only two complaints I have, and one is the minor nitpick, which is the lighting of the kaijus and whatnot, could have been a lot better. Especially, I don't just want to see dark, gritty, like clouds all over the sky and covering the monsters. And it's like, I would kind of like to see them in full glory. I know that they cause storms wherever they go, but I'd like to see more of the detail and more of what they look like. Because if it's really dark, because the fight between King Ghidorah and Godzilla is an incredibly dark fight, so you can't really see what's going on, and it makes it a little hard to watch. That's not entirely a bad thing, but I would like to see what's going on.
Yeah, that being said, the visual style in some places was amazing. Like, because...
Yeah, like King Ghidorah and Rodan showing up, yeah.
And then Mothra comes up, and it's like this ethereal, almost angelic quality to her. Like, goddamn.
Yeah, definitely. What was I thinking? was thinking of something else. The only other nitpick I have is the attempt to redeem the mother character in the movie. I was like, what the hell are you even trying? I don't want her to be redeemed. She's a psychopath. Why on earth should you want me to have sympathy for her now after all the shit she's already pulled?
And side note, why do I even give a fuck about the human characters at all at this point? Get back to what I actually paid for, please.
Well, I like the human interaction sometimes in Godzilla movies because that's part of the draw is the human's reaction to the situation.
Right, but yeah.
I mean, all of the older Godzilla movies from Toho have a ton of good characters in them.
Yeah, but
when a villain is a villain, and it's very clear she's the bad guy. Even if she's not even sympathetic, even for most of the movie, and I'm like, why are you trying to make me care now that she's willing to sacrifice herself and does so? Why should I care? You've just ruined this for me. She's not sympathetic enough for me to give a shit. Hello, Tavia.
Hey, good to see you, Tavia.
I want to mix both plus, make it easier to see it. Yeah. It doesn't feel like she was redeemed at all. I agree with you, Jonah. She doesn't really feel like she got a redemption arc. Because she didn't really learn her lesson. Of course, it's been a while since I watched the movie. It's been a few months, but I probably will rewatch it again since I bought it on Blu-ray.
Well, I mean, the problem with current writing as far as the Godzilla franchise is concerned is the creatives in charge of it, whoever they may be, keep insisting on focusing on the human characters and then don't give us a reason to give a shit about the human characters.
Yeah. Bryan Cranston was a wasted character in 2014. Everybody really liked his character, and they actually wanted to see more of him. And then he got wasted, and then we spent the rest of his time with his son.
Ooh, we couldn't be bothered to care about.
Let me join for some spicy art. There's enough talking heads here as it is. I'm already battling with Dalton. I don't need a fifth wheel.
Yeah, and of course,
so far Eric has been awfully quiet, but who knows when that will end.
I'm just
How
here
are
for
you,
the
Eric?
education.
Are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm just listening in, trying to learn things.
Okay, cool. Give me a sec. Hold on.
Wouldn't be so bad if StreamYard wasn't skipping like every 5 seconds.
You're saying you'll be silent, Joan? Why do I not believe you? I'm kidding. But also, I don't want to get demonetized on YouTube. If we're talking about spicy art, I don't even know what that context entails. But hold on a second. I'm going to show this because I've got a lot of Godzilla movies to watch. Got King of the Monsters. This I found at Walmart for $5. Got Shin Godzilla. Which I've heard very interesting things about. From the creator of Neon Genesis Evangelion. And then we've got a entire collection of Godzilla movies. 2 volumes worth. There's, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 13 movies in total that I have not watched. But I have now, so.
As long as it has Godzilla versus Smog Monster.
Well, darn, it doesn't seem to have that one. They got 2 Mothra movies on
Then
here.
you have an incomplete collection, sir.
Well, I know it's incomplete because the original Godzilla movie is not on here.
Have you read the Godzilla Goes to Hell comic, Nightwolf?
I've not read that one. When was that published and who published it?
That's a good question. I don't remember off the top of my head. I just remember there was a series
let me
where
look it up.
Godzilla went to
Godzilla
hell.
Godzilla goes to school. Apparently, also shows up. Let's see. Godzilla goes to hell.
It might have been
IDW
Godzilla
comic.
in hell.
Well, oh yeah, that's called Godzilla in Hell.
Yeah.
So it looks kind of interesting. I may have to look for this book at some point.
I've read it. It's pretty good. How many issues was that? Because I thought I had read the whole thing, but I don't know. Off the top of my head.
It looks like it goes up to potentially goes up to 5 issues.
Okay, so I have
Could have been a mini series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
It says it seems to only go to issue 5.
Okay. Well, it's in my opinion, when I read it, it was pretty good. I don't remember as much of it as I would like to, but I'll have to track it down. I'll see if I can track down the trade of it again. Is what needs to happen there. Why I didn't find the trade of it to begin with, I don't know, but that's my bad. But yeah, it's
What about
pretty good.
Pacific Rim anime series coming out next year? I have not heard about that. I thought that Pacific Rim died pretty much after the second movie, which I also haven't watched yet, but I have it on DVD right now.
Oh God, Pacific Rim 2 was horrible.
What's going on right now? We're talking about.
I've heard about
bad.
that
I've heard it.
particular anime. They're meant to be sending some dangerous strains in the fight. That's all I've heard. So we might not get a kangaroo one.
I didn't even know it was a thing yet, so.
I had heard that they were
this is the first time I'm hearing
Pacific
that
Rim
they did
anime,
anything.
but I didn't know anything else about it.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't hear about that. It's new. It's news to me. It's news to me. Of course, I don't keep up with all the news for everything, so sometimes I miss things. Things go under the radar, and I don't keep up with them. I mean, I made plans with Dalton a few months ago, and I completely spaced off and completely forgot about them. So that should tell you how little I pay attention sometimes, or how my ADD
I don't
kicks
even
in and I
remember
forget
what
to do things.
we had planned to do. Is the sad thing. I don't remember either.
That's fine. We were gonna go and we were going to check out the movie trilogy for the original Gundam series. Since you hadn't watched the original Gundam, I was going to introduce the movie to you, and then we were going to talk about it
that's right.
on a live stream to get your thoughts on it.
Jesus Christ, that was a long time ago. I can't believe I forgot that.
Give me a... No, it's fine, because I forgot too. I got so sidetracked in my own headspace that I completely forgot what I was doing.
Yeah, again, 2020 is the clusterfuck that just keeps on fucking.
Oh, really? Gundam F91 is here too now? Okay. Now we're going to devolve into Gundam-based stuff. Thanks, everybody. Don't mind me. I'm just going to see if I can find... wait, hold on. The movie. This is odd. Maybe they took it down. Gundam Info does this all the time. And I don't know why. Why would you take videos off your website and then proceed to... It's like... The video's unavailable now. Unfortunately, we can't watch it now. Hey, I dodged a bullet.
Yeah, I guess it's for the better that we both forgot it because reasons.
Well, if we would have done it at the time when I was talking about it, we probably would have been fine. But Gundam Info is a weird place where they remove stuff every once in a while and then they bring it back. So I'll have
Well,
to
I mean, we could always try to
check
find
on
it
it
somewhere
again
else.
every once in a while. Let me see. Gundam.
To Gundam or not to Gundam? That is
Gundam
the question.
Gundam movie trilogy. Let's see. Well, I could buy it on DVD for $39.
Yeah, no.
That was the reason why I wanted to do it via YouTube, because it was free, so you didn't have to pay money.
Right, yeah. I can't believe in a world with as many streaming services and things as there are, there's nowhere you can watch it for free. That baffles me.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, I don't like using pirating websites, Jonah. I don't particularly care for it. I barely like using torrent websites to watch tokusatsu stuff. So
not to mention it tends to crash
stuff.
your computer, and we all know how Nightwolf's computer is at the best of times anyway.
Yeah, exactly. No thanks. I'm hesitant. There's plenty of other places that Netflix Japan has it, but you need a VPN to access it. Well, I don't have a VPN currently. Maybe that's something I should invest in. Any thoughts on DC Future State? This question is addressed to me. I've liked the covers that I've seen, and from the staffs or the writers and the artists that I've seen, I see a few that might be questionable. There was at least one book written by Bendis that I saw, and one written by the lady who wrote She-Hulk a few years ago, or a year or so ago. I can't remember her name.
Mariko Tamaki.
Yeah, Mariko Tamaki. Which, those kind of send red flags, which is like highly questionable. But the others don't look too bad. I know people have mixed feelings about comic books in general, but I don't know. It's a potential future of the DC universe. They do this all the time. I'm not expecting it to stick unless, it ends up actually being popular by a good amount of the reader base and they want to see more of those characters.
The existence of any Bendis is too much Bendis at this point.
That's fair.
Agreed, Dalton.
I'll agree to that. I will third that recommendation. # not sponsored. I'm not sponsored by anybody. Please sponsor me.
God,
NordVPN.
I just wish you had time to write more.
One Bendis is one Bendis too many.
Yeah, fair.
Just keep him on Jinx World and Elseworld stories. I'd be happy with that. And at least if the Elseworld stories turn up to be trash, you don't have to pick up and buy them.
Yeah, and the same is true with a lot of bad writers in comics today. If they just could confine themselves to Elseworlds or What If, everything would be fine. The problem is that they're more interested often in having impact and clout over the course of the story or the storytelling than ever doing what was right for the universe itself. So they need it to be the mainline universe so they can fuck with it. Unfortunately.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I know what was the most recent issue that people got in a tizzy about was the new Flash that was announced. This non-binary Flash from Earth 11, and I'm like, well, one, it's from Earth 11. I honestly don't care very much about. Well, I mean, I don't say I don't care about alternate Earths because sometimes those are fun, but it's Earth 11. It's the one where all the genders are reversed and whatnot, and things are weird. So
Yeah, it makes sense for
Yeah.
the Flash of that Earth to be gender non-conforming, because the whole premise of that Earth is the gender reversal. So,
yeah,
Yes.
but it's,
Well, okay, but excuse me if I'm wrong here, but if the whole purpose of the Earth is that all the characters are gender swapped, and what they're drawing attention to is a character who claims to not have a gender at all,
yeah, that is odd.
so maybe
Well,
they should
no,
be like
it-
on Earth 11A.
It probably is.
it makes sense, as in like we need the main character to have a quality that can single him out as or them out as the main character. In a world where gender flipping of all the main cast is the gimmick, and everywhere else, every other universe has the genders as we know them, it kind of makes sense that how would a person stand out in a gender flipped universe? Well, by not conforming to gender. As a premise, it works. The problem being is it's only there to pander to a demographic, and that's never good. Any demographic.
Genderless readers of color.
Yeah. The one thing that's interesting was the character's name is Jess Chambers, so I'm assuming that means Jesse Chambers. So
This could be the coolest new character in the world, but
yeah,
I want to know more about any new character than their surface traits, their gender, their sexuality, because that's always the go-to now when they're trying to sell new characters.
Yeah,
and
couldn't agree more.
I need to know what they can do, not who they are necessarily, and that's something that we're just not getting with any new characters.
Well,
it seems like.
And also, if we're going to be focusing on who they are, then I would prefer you focus on the aspects of who they are that actually determine who a person is. Because the thing I hate about this identity politics wankery is the qualities of your demographic, the check boxes, as we like to say, that you fit, do not say dick about you as a person. They don't say anything about your interests. They don't say anything about your predispositions. They don't say anything about your proclivities or your motivations or any of the things that actually define who you are as an entity unto yourself.
Yeah. That is an issue. I mean, when Marvel announced the new Warriors and Safe Space and Snowflake, I laughed so much. When I told my brother, he quite literally could not stop laughing of how ridiculous and stupid that was. I'm like, no, I agree with you. It's 100% stupid. It makes no sense. Why is this important?
I have already said my piece about the aforementioned clusterfuck of what in the name of God. But as I said way back when this was a news story, the sad thing about the new Warriors is, honestly, if you come at it from a writing perspective, of a I want to make these characters interesting perspective, you can do it with those characters. You can actually, with like minor tweaks to their premise or their personality, you can make them interesting. Like, I came up with the idea of, since the nonsensical internet gas is what gave the character screen time his powers.
Yeah.
The easiest way to make that character work in a way that makes sense from a merit and writing perspective is basically make him Generator Rex.
Yeah.
Say that the quote unquote internet gas, which is still the stupidest conceivable name for anything ever, is nanites that bond to his brain and give him the power to interface with technology, kind of like R2-D2. That is an interesting premise for a character. And it only took me 5 seconds to either explain or fix that. But the problem is they they don't come at things from a writing perspective or a how we make these characters interesting and meritocratic and noteworthy perspective. They come at it from a let's sacrifice this on the altar of our ideology,
Yeah.
and then they stop. No
Yeah.
thought beyond that point occurs.
Yeah. I agree.
Okay, all right, Trailblazer. Every time she goes into action, she is fit, and svelte, and very capable. But as soon as she's not, fighting, she goes back to being, well, how do I say this politely, morbidly obese, and she doesn't like that, and so she's always looking for things to get into, but that would never fly because we're supposed to celebrate healthy at any size.
Yeah.
Now, giving her, like I said, that would be a real world, facet of her personality that, most normal people will at least, given a choice. I mean, if I could genie blink about 60 pounds of gut off of me, I'd do it yesterday.
Yeah.
Same.
Ditto.
Absolutely.
So, but again, so there you go. In 10 minutes, we just fixed 40% of the new warriors.
Warriors. And even the poster children for how fucked that premise is, the snowflake and safe space character, the way I would fix safe space, the guy who can project force fields, and see, okay, the stupid thing about safe space, at least on the surface, is that he can only project force fields in order to save other people. There are two things you could do to fix that. Even something silly like that. Number one, you make it similar to like an epileptic fit. Say that he can only trigger his powers as a result of like the threat of adrenaline. Make it like a fight or flight response thing.
Yeah. Hold on a second. Dalton, hold on a second. Brainstormer, I sent you the link. If you want to join to add to this conversation, feel free. Dalton, please continue.
Okay. And as for the why it only applies to other people, simple. You make his actual personality, his character, kind of like a Captain America or Superman style moral paragon whose main concern in life is protecting the people he cares about. So he can't trigger his force fields for himself because he doesn't consider himself as important as saving those he cares about. Boom. Not only did you fix the stupidity of his powers in that 2 seconds it took me to explain that, but you also gave him an interesting character that can actually be built on and used to make people like him and shit.
Yeah. Brainstormer, you had a thought that you wished to share?
Yeah. Also, thank you for letting me on.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. Well, it's
I didn't get a vote.
What's up, Eric?
What's happening?
Still shit posted?
Just now.
Well, yeah.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, but it's going along with the conversation of like, the, like the whole merit of like who a character is, and not just like the surface traits, obviously. And Dalton can vouch for me. Like he and I have talked a lot of like things I've worked on or am working on in terms of like characters and stuff, because that's kind of my forte.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like there's a drinking game we have of it, actually.
Yeah, he brings up character and character development so often it becomes drink worthy.
Oh boy.
Yeah. But what I was gonna say was, and this is a concept I've worked on myself, just to prove that it has somewhat of the checkboxes that a lot of the modern day writers kind of have.
Yeah.
But I do it in a way that, obviously is like you care about this character more on who they are and not what they are.
Right.
Okay, so basic premise is it's like a Batman kind of world and this is a Robin.
Mhm.
Like Carrie Kelly of sorts. Well, a female Robin. I have to say that. All right, so she's. I don't want to say the name of this character because it's my original concept, so I'm just trying to keep it bare bones. But
Right. I do that all the time. Don't worry.
yeah. Also, keep in mind, I'm kind of an edgelord with this, so
He's not that bad. You overestimate your own edginess, sure.
right. So this character is a former child prostitute because of her mother, who was a prostitute but died and left a debt for her daughter to pay off.
Mhm.
Via that circumstance, she became very jaded and cold to the world early on in her life. But due to circumstance, she is saved by, like the archetype of like Batman, right?
Mhm.
And through like training and being raised by this hero, she's able to come out of her shell more and to be able to believe that there is good in this world. And throughout her journey, she develops relationships with other like teenage superheroes, like a Teen Titans sort of thing. She has one that is with like a dude, but it's like it doesn't work out. It's a mutual agreement that they're not really compatible with each other. Like they're friends, but nothing really deeper than that. Then she has a relationship with a girl because she's bisexual. That goes deeper, and she has to come to terms and grip with being able to open herself up, not just physically, but emotionally as well, in terms of relationship. And then she obviously grows to be kind of like the next kind of Batman character incarnate. Like without getting like too much into it, that's like kind of the bare bones of her character journey.
Yeah. I
So
hear.
she's a bisexual female, but does that really seem like much like the main thing that grips you to that character?
Yeah, the sexuality isn't really the main focal point of that character. The main focal point is their history and what they've had to go through.
Yeah, and just kind of learning to not be tied down to it.
Yeah. It's about overcoming that particular level of mistake or
Trauma.
that you had to go through. That's normally how you get to that's how you write a more compelling character normally, is by what do they have to do. When you use the prototype of the hero's journey, whether you're using superheroes or not, the main objective for any type of writing is the characters have to go through something and then eventually overcome whatever it is that's causing a problem.
Let me ask you a question, Nightwolf.
Yeah.
When was the last introduced character at Marvel that even had a hero's journey?
I would say Miles. I would say Miles Morales from the Ultimate Universe. At least that's the last one that's like a character that was significant enough to gain a fan following that people actually cared about. And I'm referring to the Miles in the Ultimate Universe, not the where he is now when he's in the main continuity.
Yeah, I could probably go along with that because I mean I don't read a lot of Marvel anymore, but
yeah,
I don't think Kamala Khan had any kind of hero's journey. I don't think whatever hero's journey, if any, America Chavez had. Gabby Rivera obviously wiped all that out.
Yeah.
And it's just the characters. Although I will brook no insolence toward America Chavez by National Treasure Gabby Rivera.
Well, you don't have to brook it for us all to go along with it anyway.
But it's now. I said something on a stream or on a video with Eglantine. I think it was him, but I said, where the heroes went from being selfless to self-impressed.
Yeah.
And when you're self-impressed, chances are they didn't bother with the hero's journey that makes the characters from like my childhood resonate to this day.
Yeah.
I think gives the characters a shorter shelf life.
Definitely. Yeah.
And the sad thing is, when they try a hero's journey, they focus on the wrong aspect of it. They only focus on the suffering, on the character when they're at their lowest point. They don't focus on the things that a character has that make them in some way unbreakable. Like, you can have a character, hero's journey that's born out of suffering. Like, using my favorite character as an example, that's basically Doctor Strange's whole shtick is arrogant asshole who's brought down a million pegs because he appreciates none of what he has and has to re-earn all of it. But the thing is, when you have a character who is suffering, who is, brought down to the point that they're superficially pathetic, you have to show that there's something about them or something about their circumstances that they can take and use as motivation to rise back up. But every time when they make a character like Doctor Strange revisit their hero's journey over and over again because they don't feel like the character's earned enough for stupid reasons of not knowing the character's history, they get stuck in the let's make this character look as pathetic as possible phase. They never, ever will allow the character to reintegrate, to gain from their loss, to use their motivation as a reason to be better. It never occurs to them because they genuinely seem to believe that no character before 2013 or so ever had to struggle or suffer at all. So now every character that existed before 2013 is in a constant state of failure and suffering because the people writing them don't know the characters well enough to know they've already suffered enough.
Yeah.
And the new characters are so sacrosanct and so quote-unquote underappreciated or oppressed by these people's logic that they can never experience any kind of suffering because, according to these people, again, not me, but these people, since these demographics have been underserved for all of human history, giving them a power fantasy of basically a Mary Sue is just the natural counterbalance.
Yeah. That's what Jonah is mentioning in the chat right now, is that America Chavez and Kamala, mostly the former, doesn't have a hero's journey. It's more just a power fantasy. The funny thing is that power fantasies can work and be written well. Characters can still go through some form of struggle or trauma, but it's about how you execute a power fantasy and do it properly that actually engages people in your story.
Yeah,
because that's the funny thing. Because in Japan, power fantasy stories are the top-selling stories currently. All the
shonen.
Not really shonen. Shonen is more prototypical hero's journey. I'm referring to the isekai genre, where the protagonist is a broken, ridiculously, is an overly powered, ridiculous character that can do no wrong. Has everybody and in some cases, they don't do a very good job with that. And then other cases, they do a better job with it. Like, what is it? Overlord is an overpowered and broken character, but he's basically the final boss of a RPG. So he's supposed to be some overpowered Lynch King that can destroy his enemies with a single blow and whatnot.
Yeah, so. and on that topic, there is this other thing I've noticed in modern writing and comics and stuff.
Yeah.
Where you can either have a character who is competent or you can have a character who is constantly suffering and never anywhere in between, and never can you have a character who has a lot of power that has earned that lot of power. And it pisses me off to no end, especially with my characters, because oftentimes, after the character's hero's journey is accomplished, they are paragons of virtue. They are hyper competent, but it's not because of their personal struggles that we follow them. It's because they are responding to something else. Like in Doctor Strange's case, whenever reality breaks, you call Doctor Strange because he's the guy who's competent enough to handle it. I hate this idea of we either have to have a character who is so flawed and so broken that they can never accomplish anything, or we can have a bland Mary Sue who can do no wrong. It's you do know that characters can be competent and can be shown to be competent at whatever their area of speciality is without seeming overpowered.
Yeah.
And even overpowered characters can deserve their power. Is the other thing.
A great example is the difference between Ms. Marvel, the Carol Danvers Ms. Marvel, and the Carol Danvers Captain Marvel. One of the characters went through all kinds of hell to get where she was. The other one just gets power upgrades every time a misogynist gives her crap online in a Twitter chat.
It's sad how much you're not joking there.
Yes, it is.
That's very depressing.
What was it? Jason Aaron's female Thor that was like, "That's for using feminist like it's a 4-letter word." Punch.
Yeah, I remember that. That was
There's another problem with a lot of these newer characters is there's one genre that has been overserved for various reasons for the first 70 years of comics, and that's the straight white male. So those aren't being created anymore, but they're the only characters you're allowed to give flaws to. So they're kind of stuck. The characters that you can create, if you give a female hero a problem, you're killed online. If anything bad happens, if you kill a woman in a story, you're killed online. So
you had something bad happen to a woman of color who was differently able or mentally unstable. You're a misogynist and a disableist and a homophobe and derpity derp.
Yeah.
And mind you, that's coming from a disabled gay dude. So there's that.
But can you say derpity derp again?
So Slab My 3 story. Think it's a Bible on stream with a journey built in for all the characters that's deeper than current Marvel comic characters. I'm sure you could, Joan. I've seen some of those Bibles that you've written. I can't get through all of them without saying, "My good Lord, this is too much reading for me right now."
Oh yeah, no, I'm working on one of those too, actually.
I work on my stuff, but I don't write nearly as much as you guys do.
More reading than a Bendis splash page?
Yep, but better written.
I just want to see if the Hillam is still awake.
Yes, I'm still here.
Still here.
I'll be right back.
Okay, see you a bit better. But I'm gonna shift gears a bit. I'm gonna shift gears a bit because I have other comic books I wanted to talk about, and we're talking about intersectionality and all the things that are wrong in the world. And
back on track then again before 2020 comes to ruin our fun yet again.
Yeah. So today, actually, I managed to read a few more books. This was funny. I mentioned this on Tehillium stream earlier in the week, but I bought a 4-pack of some DC comics from Walmart, and because I've done this with Marvel before too, where I see a comic book that I like, I'm like, oh, this might be good. I'm gonna read this. I'm gonna give it a shot, and and then it's a 4-pack. I get 1 to 2 maybe good books, and the rest are garbage or a repeat of the same book that was already in the other one. Mm-hmm. And one of the books that I got was Justice League 45, that has the Spectre story in it. I don't know how the Justice League got to this point, but this feels like a pretty self-contained single story that I don't really know what's entirely going on, but the League seems to be fighting each other, and then it involves God and how the Spectre's host was trying to get out of it and ended up. Where did he go? I think he went to hell. Oh, wait, no.
Okay, so
He went
this is
to Themyscira's version, or Greek hell. He went to Tartarus to flee, and I'm all like, oh, that's kind of interesting.
yeah.
It was a pretty good story.
And as per usual, the Spectre goes insane because
Yeah.
For those that don't know, for those that are unfamiliar with the Spectre, in the same way that whenever the Marvel Universe needs a Deus Ex Machina to break the universe or break the multiverse, they give Wanda PMS. In the DC Universe, when they need something or someone to break the universe, they make the Spectre go insane.
Yep. That's normally how it goes, isn't it? But that was a pretty good story. It felt really short and really quick. Wasn't too dialogue heavy, but it had enough good dialogue in it to make me go, oh, that was really good. This is actually my first issue of Justice League written by Venditti, and that's really good. I'll have to go and see if I can find some of the other issues at some point, or maybe I'll buy the trades. This is not my first issue of Hawkman. This is my most recent acquisition, which was Hawkman 23. And I liked the little story that they got going on here. I think it's in Spain. And Carter, this is one of Carter's lives when he's a plague doctor, I guess, or
That's
something
fun.
to that nature. That's a really good story. And, and he's trying to help with a disease, and everybody's like,
I have a question. Do they ever juxtapose Hawkman's wings with the Plague Doctor mask? Because just from hearing that premise, I want to see them do that. Because as everyone I'm sure knows at this point, a Plague Doctor mask looks a lot like a bird.
yeah.
And given that it's Hawkman, I really want someone to draw Plague the Doctor with wings that looks like a giant bird because of the Plague Doctor mask.
He doesn't have the wings, but he does have more of a bird-like beak than the normal plague doctors I normally see.
Yeah.
It's more or less. And then Hawk Girl shows up too.
Uh-huh.
Also a plague doctor. The masks definitely look a lot more kind of similar to what they normally would wear with the large beaks and whatnot, but it covers more of their faces. And it's talking. Yeah, go ahead. Eric.
How many issues of Hawkman have you read?
I read issue 1 and issue 23. This is all I've read so far.
So to say, for what it's worth, as someone who's been reading comics longer than anybody else on this panel has been alive,
Yeah.
this series is one of the few that hold up with any run in any era.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've heard you and England team praising this book nonstop, so
All
I
hail guy with wings and mace.
Yep. And this story was really good. I actually really enjoyed this one. Because it feels, even though it's a continuation of what's going on, at least to some extent, because it has like the first page of like what's been happening to Carter, it feels self-contained enough so that if this was my first issue of the book, I could be like, oh, this is really good. I should go and read some of the other stuff. Because this is, him getting lynched by everybody and claiming that he's a demon, and they're going to kill him and set him on fire. And then Hawkgirl basically showing up and saying, like, that it's not his fault. Like, everyone is dying, life ends and all this other stuff. Pretty well written, philosophical talk about, the fact that they're all just afraid of death.
Honestly, the longer this run of Hawkman goes on, the longer I want to see it turn into like this generation's Sandman. Because honestly, for as long as this has been going on, if he wants to, the writer could tie this into some of the other sort of Golden Age quasi-mystical characters and basically do for Hawkman what Neil Gaiman did for the Sandman mythos.
Yeah.
Well, what he did 2 issues ago was basically turn him mortal. He is now down to his last life. That was a deal he struck, and he was given one life and where he wanted to spend it, and he chose 1942, the original Justice JSA era.
Yeah, just
and unfortunately, it's canceled, which is a problem in this industry. That now, when this first came out, it was getting promoted. It came out the same time as the New Age of Heroes, and they were. Yes. I was reading a couple books, and I would see full page spreads for Hawkman, and then Dan DiDio signed a 3 named demon, and all promotions went to him.
By the dark power of the demon known as Bendis.
And now we're losing this, but take heart, comic book fans. We're going to get a 9th Batman title.
Yeah, because it's not like we don't need more of those.
And I understand.
They do not want.
Yeah, you give people what you give people what they'll buy, and I get that. But one of the things in all 45 years that I've been reading comics that the industry has been terrible at is promoting anything outside of their quote unquote big guns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their core book, or they focus way too much on their core books and not on smaller titles that could definitely use the bump in sales and say, hey guys, this book is actually really solid, you should be reading it. Like, I remember Marvel, like, what was it, Secret Wars came out, the one that was in like 2017, I can't remember, but out of those stories came a miniseries for Black Knight. And I'm like, I really like Black Knight. And I'm really looking at the cover art, and I'm like, I'm really liking this redesign of his costume. Looks really solid. I want to check this out because when I didn't really have a comic book shop, but I had access to, I'm trying to remember what it was called, but it was like a service where you could buy things like comic books and trades and whatnot. And some of the books that they offered were things like The Loners, Union Jack. They were all miniseries, and they were all really solidly written. And I was like, oh, Black Knight, this will be interesting. So when I found out that they eventually canceled the book after 5 issues, I'm like, okay, so it's going to be... You guys probably should have just focused it as a miniseries and be done with it. But you didn't. You chose, oh, hey, we're going to say it's an ongoing series, and then, when
nerf
it doesn't
it to a mini-series when it crashes and burns.
Which is really disappointing because the book was really solid until the final issue where everything had to be cobbled together at the last minute to say, oh, hey, here's what's happening. And I think I recently saw that they're going to be bringing Black Knight back again for another series, but I'm fairly positive they're not going to.
They kind of have to because he's in Eternals. So they're gonna bring him back.
Well, you'll have to excuse Marvel. They can't even be bothered to care about their events to their completion, let alone a standalone title.
Hello, Lorenzo. How are you?
Hey, Lorenzo.
Yep. But I understand that Marvel doesn't care. I mean, they didn't even mention that the Ultraman series is a 5-issue miniseries until a few months after they announced it. So it's like, do you guys even try anymore to tell us what's actually going on? Why can you not just have miniseries? Because these books will probably not sell a whole lot. They're going to probably last maybe 5-10 issues. And it's like, okay, we're going to do a miniseries and then just be done with it. Because the problem is when they do this, they don't give the writers enough rope. They only give them enough rope to hang themselves. Yeah. Because they can't finish the story that they probably had planned because they get canceled too early. And the Black Knight story was pretty darn solid, like I said, until the very end, where it has a forced confrontation with the antagonist that was like in like one other issue, I think, and that was
we have
it.
To.
But it's like final confrontation that really didn't feel like much of a confrontation. It lasted like 2 pages. And I was like, come on, guys. The covers of these books were amazing. The art was really good. I was invested, and you didn't even bother to give me a satisfying ending to this miniseries.
Yeah, that's kind of why I prefer indie stuff. Because most of the time they, well, for one thing, they're allowed to do their own thing mostly.
Yep. Anyway,
well, Marvel
what's
only
the
cares
other-
about a few things anymore, and
yeah.
that's promoting Ms. Marvel, Captain Marvel.
Yeah, they keep forcing her into the role of flagship hero, and it's just like no one wants that. Even the people who like the character don't want that because they see how much it ruins the character.
And they'll never give they'll never return her to the character that people actually would accept.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I think I actually created a original Miss Marvel, like Carol Danvers Miss Marvel character, without even intending, like thinking about it.
Hey, Jay, it's been a while. How are you, man? Or should I call you Touch Me Wookie? I know.
Oh my God, Jay is back.
Jay is here. Hey, Jay, how are you? It's been a long time. I hope you're doing well, man.
Eric, I think you forgot something in relation to Marvel. Don't forget they want to make it a lifestyle too. The Marvel lifestyle. Yeah. What is that again?
God, I wish I could drink.
Just a few more weeks, man.
Just be patient. Just be patient. Eventually, you'll be of legal drinking age someday.
2 weeks.
Good, bruv.
Yeah.
Hope all is well. Yeah, it's going pretty good. I'm actually having a great time right now. I'm hanging out with friends. We're talking about comic books. I keep on getting interrupted. It's a good time.
I'm reading Doom Patrol.
This is what I asked for. Huh?
I'm reading Doom Patrol.
You're reading Doom Patrol? There's a current run on Doom Patrol. How good is
No,
it?
I'm reading Grant Morrison's Doom Patrol.
Grant Morrison's Doom Patrol. I've heard that was a good run.
Well, it's I think it's like the main inspiration for the series, like the show that came out.
Yeah.
And I've seen the show, and I like that, and so I'm reading the basis of it. So good. It's good so far.
Yeah, I've also heard really good things about his Animal Man series, but I never got a chance to read that either. So
His Animal Man is really, really freaking amazing. Actually,
yeah, that's
like
what I've
Grant
heard.
Morrison almost always does good work, but like for some reason, Animal Man and he just clicked, and really great material there.
Speaking of Grant Morrison, issue 3 of his second season of Green Lantern is here too. Out of all the books that I've read, out of the four books that I was given for $10, or I should say under $10, I would say this one's the one I don't get, but this is Grant Morrison. He does tend to do that sometimes where a lot of stuff doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. And I did notice, because I read his first issue of Green Lantern, and it was just like a psychedelic trip. So it's like, I don't get anything that's happening, really. Art's really fantastic. Some of it is very interesting, but this one was like there's some sort of sentient storm being attacking Earth or something. And Hal Jordan has to uses a test jet to go in without his ring for some reason, because sure, Hal, let's be an idiot and not bring the most powerful weapon in the universe.
Well, I mean, Hal Jordan, ladies and gentlemen. So.
Yeah, but it was a good. He was also saving another test pilot, so that was kind of cool. And he also apparently is a father now to some strange alien bird creatures. I wish I was joking. I'm not.
Well, I mean, it's Grant Morrison. I mean, what?
He's a daddy now.
There comes a point where you just expect the weird. It's kind of like with Alan Moore.
Yeah.
You expect him to crater it in some weird raving at some point.
I don't think I've ever read anything from Alan Moore, like at all.
I've never officially read anything of his either. I think I've seen adaptations of his work, but I haven't actually read anything. Also, there's a part of me that kind of doesn't want to read it because there's parts of me that genuinely doesn't like the person. I normally try to avoid that type of mentality, but considering my affection for Steve Ditko and the pot shots he's taken at him at his expense, when he knows that Steve Ditko was never going to respond to him anyway, it's kind of below the belt, and he's kind of a douche for doing so.
And it's hilarious to me that Alan Moore would go after Steve Ditko of all people, because like in the history of comics, writers have always been a little bit eccentric, shall we say?
That's fair.
But before Alan Moore set the standard for crazy, eccentric people in comics, Steve Ditko was basically the original Alan Moore.
Yeah.
If we're going to look at things in that terms, like he's the one who set the standard for just kind of batshit kooky, before Alan Moore was a twinkle in anyone's eye.
Yeah.
So it's a little odd to me that like there's no honor among the possibly insane.
There's
Alan Moore and Steve Ditko.
I think it's some of the writers from the UK that don't have any form of respect for Steve Ditko. Why? Not really sure, but they love taking pot shots at him, apparently.
But if I had to guess, it was because Ditko, for a large chunk of his life, was a Randian objectivist.
Yeah,
and everyone has a bug up their ass about the stupidity of a lot of Randian objectivists.
Yeah, and that was the main bulk of what they were doing. That's what Alan Moore did when he created Rorschach. It was to take a shot at Steve Ditko's character, Mr. A.
And then he, and also the Question.
The Question.
Then of course, everyone, it kind of backfired when a lot of people decided that Rorschach was kind of the protagonist.
Yeah.
Including the guy who made the movie, which is even funnier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't think I'll ever really get into Alan Moore stuff because it's so dark and depressing, to be honest.
Yeah, you're not wrong. He focuses way too much on what was it? The appropriate terminology would be authoritative powers that haven't been in power since the 60s. He's in the past.
Yeah,
he's a lot of his work.
Yeah, he's still he's like a lot of the, and I hate to say this because to say this about anyone is insufferable, but to say this about Alan Moore is kind of even more insufferable. But he's kind of like the current crop of social justice warriors in the sense that they all believe, against all evidence, that they're still in whatever is the most politically rife era for their given demographic. To an SJW, all women are either in the 1890s or the 1950s. To an SJW, all black people are either still in pre-Civil War Alabama or they're in, the civil rights movement still.
Yeah.
To a social justice warrior, all gay people are stuck in the 80s when everyone was blaming them for the HIV crisis.
Yeah.
And they see themselves as like the protagonists of those inspirational, like the youth culture striking back against the authoritarian powers.
Yeah.
Like every day to them is like something out of Dead Poet Society or Patch Adams or even something like The Craft, probably, considering there's enough of them that appropriate the shit out of occultism. And also, fuck you. Make magic non-feminist again, in my humble opinion, hashtag, but whatever.
Also, yes, Jay, I don't know how I could kick Switchpoint when he's not here. I can't go all the way to Canada to kick him, man. You're going to have to figure that one out yourself. Find a teleporter, take a boat from the UK, whatever you gotta do to go and kick him, but I can't kick.
Well,
He's not here.
you were calling him Jay. That isn't that Jay, is it?
It is that Jay.
Jay Fairclaw?
Yeah.
Yes. Everybody's favorite drunk Irish bastard is in the chat.
That's his.
Thanks for saying hi, Jay. You bastard.
That is him. I know because I can tell by the avatar picture of his back.
I thought that was him. I couldn't enlarge enough to tell if it was.
I remember because I think he sent me a friend request on PlayStation 4 a long time ago, and that's his gamer tag is Touch Me Wookie.
Ah.
That's why I recognized it. At first I wasn't sure. I was like, who's that? Oh, I know who that is. Anyway. And this was the last book that was in that 4-pack of DC Comics, which is The Flash, issue 753, which involves Thawne again, because of course it does.
The only Flash comics I read were the Rebirth one with Godspeed, like the early ones.
Yeah,
which were actually really good.
Yeah,
it's for first Flash comics to ever read.
This is still the same writer, still the same guy. Williamson is still. He's not on the book anymore. From what I heard, he's going to be taken off the book.
Yeah, he left 2 months ago or 2 issues ago.
Yeah,
and he moved over to Justice League. He's writing the Death Metal tie-ins for the Justice League.
Oh, okay. Will he be writing Justice League moving forward? I
don't know if that's been decided yet, but I will say the new writer on Flash in the 2 issues he's been on, I think he's going to be a pretty good successor to Williamson.
Okay, that's good to hear. Who is the new writer?
If you give me a second, I have them here. I just have to pull it up. It's no one I'd ever heard of.
So it's a kind of a dark horse, unknown commodity.
Yes, it's the last name of Shinnick.
Shinnick. Yeah, I can't say I recognize that name.
I can't either. I don't. If he's written some other stuff, I'm not familiar with it. But he's using Dr. Alchemy, so just finally not having a villain tied to the Speed Force is such a refreshing change for this book.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I love my evil speedsters. I love Godspeed when he was first introduced. I love Thawne, who was really pretty good in this book too. Mainly it's a issue with a guy by the name of Paradox, who I know nothing about because I haven't been keeping up with the Flash comics very much. And apparently he captured Godspeed and is using him to create paradoxes. But it's mostly just Barry running, trying to find Thawne. And at the end, it's like, oh, hey, we're going to have to team up.
Yeah, and after this storyline, which had a satisfying payoff, you really couldn't go right back into another Speed Force story. The book needs to breathe.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the Dr. Alchemy storyline is going to do. And
yeah, I hear you. I hear you. That sounds like a good thing. Don't get me. I do like, the Flash's evil speedsters, but I do like when they mess around with some of the other ones. I like the rogues. Mostly the rogues.
No, they did find a way to get the rogues into the storyline.
Yeah, they're in this issue too, or at least Captain Cold is in this issue. A beefed up version of Captain Cold. Like, this is Captain Cold? Doesn't look like Captain Cold to me. What happened? He got jacked all of a sudden.
Now he's Captain Stone Cold.
Yeah, pretty much. He's like just beefy as hell. He's not wearing his parka. He's just got like these weird ice fists or something going on. Like he's wearing some sort of ice tech equipment of some kind that's giving him new ice powers. I have no idea where this comes from exactly.
He decided he wanted to be cooler.
Okay, you have to be punished for that pun. I have to kick you now. I have no choice. That pun was just too bad. Even Rabbit would not approve of that pun.
You're giving me the cold shoulder.
And once again, don't give me an excuse to kick you, because I will.
Oh, don't be so cold-hearted.
I'm joking.
I can do it all day. I swear to God.
We're all being punished.
God damn it! I thought. I have to deal with that from Dalton every week, like the puns.
Don't worry, man.
Right.
I actually am completely okay with puns.
But I can really see why Brainstormer's counting the minutes till he turns 21.
That's horrible.
Whew, okay. So, that was all the comics I've read this week. Let's see. What else were we? I mentioned I was going to be doing some manga-based conversations because I got some mangas that I've read a couple chapters of that I wanted to share. And we have Kaiju number 8, which right now currently has 16 chapters for Shonen Jump. And I got to I've read the first 2 chapters of this book, and I was pretty impressed so far. I thought it was pretty funny because it doesn't technically follow the monster so far at the first section, or this individual, or I guess you would call him Kaiju number 8. But it follows, it's like everybody always talks about the kaiju who make, it's like, who's the people in the aftermath who clean up the mess after the monsters die? It basically follows that particular character, a guy by the name of Kafka. And that's his job. He's part of a cleaning crew. They, clean out all the bones, all the skin, the intestines, all that stuff. The intestine part was the funniest thing because everybody gets sick when they go into the intestines of a kaiju and throw up.
Yeah, huh?
And that was hilarious. But he was going to join like the defense force to fight kaijus. But he flunked out, and now he's part of the cleaning crew. And the funniest thing was at the end of the first chapter is some sort of weird talking small monster finds him and then invades his personal space, and by invade his personal space, literally goes down the guy's throat and turns him into a monster. And then hilarity and comedy ensues. Second chapter is just him and his another guy who wants to join the defense force. I forgot his name. Them running to try and get away from the defense force. And then they save a mother and a small child from a kaiju. I'm enjoying this so far. I think this will be a fun read moving forward.
Good
I love
pull,
kaiju
Lorenzo. Very good
monsters. And the fact that Shonen Jump currently has a kaiju title going on right now is very cool. Has anyone else potentially read this book?
I heard about it. Haven't checked it out.
Yeah. Yeah, I checked it out. I'm enjoying it so far. Puns are the highest form of literature. Alfred Hitchcock on the Dick Cavett Show. Okay. Okay, we'll talk to you in a bit, Talium. Apparently he stepped out for a bit. Let's see. What other books are here? Well, that's not what I wanted. Here we go. I've read the first 2 chapters of this title too. Okay, don't bother me right now, Viz. I'm busy. Moriarty the Patriot, the untold story of Sherlock Holmes' greatest rival. Um, I don't know if this is a mini series or something because there seems to be only 3 chapters and it doesn't sound like it's going to continue. I don't know because you can buy the first volume. I don't know. Maybe there's more chapters coming. I'm not sure. But I do really enjoy this idea of. Go ahead, Dalton.
I'll have to pick this up because anytime Sherlock Holmes stuff appears in comic form or whatever, yeah, I'm happy. And this sounds really, really interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Were you gonna say something else?
No, go ahead.
So far, just from the 2 chapters that are available, there's 3 chapters in total available. I've only read the first 2, but it's basically Moriarty trying to take down the aristocracy's system that's in London with himself and his brother and adopted brother, and doing so by committing the perfect crime. And so far, the first 2 issues, there's been a perfect crime in each one. So I'm assuming when I read the 3rd chapter, there's going to be another perfect crime committed.
Wait, Moriarty has a brother?
In this story, yes, he had a sickly brother. He still does. He's the one with the R on his face.
Okay.
And this is their adopted noble brother. He's from a noble family. The first issue, because they were adopted by their family, that's where they get the name Moriarty, I guess. Mm-hmm. And mostly it's because the brother hates the system that he's living under, and he hears what is the original Moriarty's name? Is it William? Or is
James.
It James? I can't remember.
James Moriarty.
It's
Professor James Moriarty.
Yeah. And basically, he's telling the other kids at the orphanage at a very young age. He's like about, I think, like 12, 13 years old, probably a little younger than that. He's telling them to, tear down the system and kill the nobles. and his adopted brother hears this and he's like, I want to join this guy. He's insane and I don't want to be an evil noble. I want to do something better. So they set out to do so. Starting by murdering his entire action, having James help him kill his legitimate family.
Well, I mean, you guys all know how I feel about the aristocracy with how much I reference them in the negative all the time. So I hate to say it, but I concur with the very first supervillain of literature on this matter. Goddamn.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, but that was the other manga that I read the first couple chapters. Shonen Jump, I haven't been reading very much of their books lately, but I'm going to try my best to change that because I really need to take better advantage of the fact that it's only $2 a month to own this library. So, or not really own it, but to be able to rent it out and read whatever I want.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there was that. Was a spy. And the last manga that I read is this one, Spy X Family. I think I remember, I don't remember who was talking about it. It was several months ago or about maybe a year ago. I think Nerd Wonder was talking about this at some point. And she said it was a really funny and really cute story. And I actually started to read it now. And I have to agree. I actually really like this manga. The whole concept of it is this gentleman here is an international spy, an international man of mystery who's never been caught. And he's given an assignment to get into the good graces of a political official that I think he has to get dirt on or something. I can't remember if he has to kill him or if he has to just get close enough to him. And in order to do that, he has to get close, or has to have someone get close to his son. So he adopts. He has to have the guise of a family. He adopts this little girl called Aya, who turns out that she's a telepath and can read minds. Even more so, she can read his mind. So she knows he's a liar when he's like trying to pretend to just be a normal dad. And then second chapter actually introduced the wife of the group, and she is an assassin. And they get married very quickly. And so comedy ensues. It's pretty. Actually, the second chapter was even funnier than the first one, where he's just trying to engage in conversation with the girl. Second one I thought was even better because there's the portion where he's talking about being married to her, and he was on a mission dealing with some art thieves or something to that nature, and they start chasing them, and he has the guise of he's a psychiatrist. So he's telling her that, oh, these are my patients trying to kill me because they're having a psychotic breakdown. And she actually buys into it, and he's like, I'm not sure if she's just, or if she's that stupid.
Well, I mean, it is a good excuse if you have to get rid of people, and you have the inborn excuse of my patients are having a psychotic break. And also, it does sort of sound like a delusion that somebody would come up with, that they're spies and that all this shit exists. So, yeah, if you're dealing with normies who have never seen anything weird, then yeah, probably.
Yeah, I just thought it was really, so far it's just been very charming and funny. So far. I don't know, how many chapters is this book on right now? I can't see it here. What the heck? I think it's on like 36 chapters so far. I don't know. But I'm gonna read more of this one. The Moriarty one only has 3 chapters, so I'll probably be done with that.
Is the X in the title for Spy
Eric?
Times Family?
What? Spy?
Yeah, is the book about Spy and his family? Is it X or Spy? Just instead of saying like Spy Times Family.
No, it's shorthand. Whenever there's like a comedic relationship between characters in a lot of like internet culture, you indicate that with an X. So like there are stories in bad fan fiction-y parts of the internet, for example, where there are Kirk X Spock stories where Kirk and Spock have a romantic relationship.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just it's shorthand.
Okay.
Some manga creators use it too.
No, that
probably mostly to make fun of the internet shorthand part of it.
Yeah, probably. What were you saying, Eric?
No, I would say that actually sounds kind of neat.
Yeah. Yep. I do normally like recommending Shonen Jump to people currently, mostly just because. Hold on a second. I stopped sharing, but I'll put it back up here. Mostly because all manga series, they have so much to go through. And keep in mind, a lot of these, there's a good amount of these series that have been going on for hundreds of chapters.
Well, that's kind of what I was going to say. One of Oz Chris's friends, I think these days he goes by Jacob the Ghoul.
Mm-hmm.
God, I can't remember what he used to be, but he recommended Tokyo Ghoul to me.
Yeah.
And I actually found the first 3 volumes. And then I realized how many more volumes there were. And I realized, I think you get...
you can always get the box set.
Well, it's sort of like how comic book readers are intimidated by there being so much that's come before them. But I think this is even worse because this is 30 volumes of a continuous story. At least with superheroes, you can pick your arcs.
Yeah.
Or, so I mean, it's daunting. I mean, I need to pick it up and start. I'm, how many volumes there are now? I am that -1 behind.
Yeah. Well, if you want to talk about mangas that have been going on for a long time,
It's closed. I've got the
case
first
closed. This one's on volume 76 right now.
Is it the same case?
It's multiple cases.
Okay, well, at least they closed some then.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been going on for several years, and it hasn't ended yet. But it's a highly popular book that a lot of people really like, still to this day. What was I going to say? Here's the thing. When it comes to Western comics and whatnot, there is a good amount of continuity and backstory that even newer readers, like you mentioned, new readers get intimidated by that stuff. The one thing, though, with something like with Shonen Jump and whatnot, with any of the books that you pick, like let's say we just went to My Hero Academia, if you start from volume 1 and go all the way to whatever the current volume is, which would be, I don't know, probably volume 26, I guess. You get one story. And eventually, a lot of the books in the Shonen Jump library eventually end. Naruto eventually ended after several years of success. Dragon Ball ended. Bleach ended. I'm naming off the most popular ones. But One Piece, which has been around almost as long as others like Naruto and Bleach, is still going, and they're at like almost 1,000 chapters at this point. So some of them are daunting, depending on what you're interested in. But the problem with a lot of, they're all in their own self-contained little story or their own self-contained series. They're not crossing over with everybody and, making a much larger continuity for themselves. They're singular stories.
Yeah, I think the farthest I ever got into, I got through, I think, 24 volumes of GTO.
Yeah.
And poor Onizuka still hadn't gotten laid. And I figured that's some decompressed storytelling. But it was very enjoyable.
Yeah, it is. I remember watching, I never got to read the manga, but I did read the anime, or watch the anime. I can't read an anime. What the hell? I mean, you can if you read subtitles.
I had those so long ago that I have some of them on DVD and some of them on VHS. Problem is, it's 2020. I don't have anything to play a VHS on anymore.
I think you could probably find them on DVD now.
Oh, I'm sure I could. Assuming I could even find the DVDs wherever I just stashed those.
Give me a second. Let me look. Right Stuff Anime has Great Teacher Onizuka complete series for about $60. So that's not too bad.
No, but my problem is I've got so much stuff that I need to watch. And then right now I'm watching a game between two teams I couldn't give two shits about.
Well,
I feel your pain.
You'd rather be watching that than the politics right now. I don't blame you.
I mean, I did take the time yesterday to bang out.
eBay has VHSs. This is true.
Anatomy of a Murder, all 2 hours and 40 minutes of it. But I don't do that nearly as often as because I just tend to leave a game on as a backdrop and read comics and stuff. So it's
Yeah. That's what I do with YouTube sometimes. I just turn on a video and have that going on in the background while I read some books now. So it's what I've been doing.
now, are you able to tune
Or
out
if
the
I'm
video?
traveling anywhere, like if I'm going to town or something.
Like what's the easiest form of entertainment as a backdrop that you can tune out while you read?
For me, it's YouTube. Because I can put on like whatever videos I want and just kind of zone out, read some books.
Sometimes when I want
to
to sometimes when I want to filter out what's going on around me and read, I'll just turn on music, and then I'll sort of filter out everything else.
Yeah, music is the easiest one, especially for me it's jazz because there's no vocals to get in the way. But as far as visual entertainment,
that's true.
Is is sports because I can tune that out and just read, but I can't do that with scripted entertainment because why would you?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, presumably you're there to watch it.
It would be really hard. Like if I turn on Netflix or something and I want to watch something, I'm gonna be watching it, and I'm not gonna be busy like reading anything. Like when what was it? I recently watched the second season of Food Wars, and I was just watching that. It's like I'm not going to be reading while I'm watching this. I want to see what happens instead of, being distracted by reading while the show is going on.
I guess you could fix it if it was a rerun of something you've seen 1,000 times or something.
Yeah, sometimes. Well, recently when I was like watching reruns of Kitchen Nightmares every once in a while I was reading the comics. So there's that. I've seen Kitchen Nightmares plenty of times. So.
What Jonah was saying, eBay has VHS. I have them, but when I had to get a new television, I needed a converter to be able to hook up my VHS to the TV, and the converter was $60, and I decided, well, I don't need to see my VHSs that bad right now. Considering I got the player for $8.
You could just find a combo VHS DVD thing. I remember they had those a lot when I was. It wasn't that long ago. It was like 2009-ish.
I put one of those in when I had all the comics. I had a Marvel room, a DC room, and an Indies room, and I put a TV DVD VCR combo in my DC room, and I would go in there, sit back on the Burka lounger, and watch like Batman cartoons on it. So I used to have one.
Well played, sir. That is the correct use of that setting.
Absolutely. I mean, it was so long ago. It had the tubes, and it'd be gone now if I could lift it.
Oh, an analog set.
Oh yeah, it was. Oh gosh, by early 2000s when I got that.
Well, if it still works, then you might be able to sell it and get some money for it.
I'm not sure if it does still work. I think I ended up getting a DVD player that I attached to it because I think the DVD part of it crapped out almost immediately.
Mm-hmm.
But hell, I probably haven't turned it on. I probably haven't turned on that set in 10 years.
Well, if I were you, I'd check it because it probably is worth something to some retro collector somewhere.
I will look into that.
Well, wait, what was? Oh, now I remembered. There was something that I had overheard a bit. Hold on a second. I'm gonna screen share this site again because I don't know all the specifics of this, but I did hear recently that Demon Slayer, one of the most current series from Shonen Jump, got $100 million in global sales.
It's been getting a lot of
Does anybody know
sales.
more about that?
Theme
Yeah, I've noticed.
after the series finished. Not only that, Mugen Train has also led to more sales of the manga because it's also a part of the manga storyline.
But yeah, this has been doing very well then. So that's impressive. If
What,
only if
100
Marvel and
100
DC
million?
could have those kind of, yeah, 100 million in global sales.
Wow, that's almost Captain Marvel numbers.
I know, right?
You should be ashamed.
I know, it's really amazing.
The numbers sound better than American Shoppers.
Hey,
Thank you, Tillium. He deserves that.
He had that coming. Had that coming for a long, long time.
I'm zapping you. I'll zap you back to the utopian parallel. Sure. Oh, wait a second. Not allowed there. Never mind.
I'm just
a plane of cosmically powerful lesbians. I don't think that's quite a punishment.
Well, that'd be the ultimate look but can't touch.
He's got you there. But no, that's an impressive feat for this series. Because I heard of this series until the anime came out last year, I think was 2019?
Yep.
2018, something like that. I didn't know about the series
Yes.
until the anime. So, and I don't know if I would say it's a favorite of mine. I've watched some of it. It's interesting, but not something that I would go full blown like I have to read this right now kind of story. Probably because I feel like with a lot of Shonen Jump mangas, it's kind of used a bit too much. This whole demon or supernatural stuff. I mean, if you're into those types of stories, it's fine. But I'm more of a sci-fi guy, so I don't find these all that interesting. Although out of the ones I have seen, I would say this one's probably the better out of all of them that I've seen so far. Because people, like when I first picked up the Shonen Jump app, everyone started recommending me mangas to read, and everyone was recommending Jujutsu Kaisen. They recommend Chainsaw Man. I checked them out, and I was not really impressed with either of them. I know that's probably sacrilegious to some.
You like what you like.
Yeah. Well, because I know that Jujutsu Kaisen was pretty popular. A lot of people really like that one. Chainsaw Man was at least a little bit more interesting to me, but I still wasn't invested enough to keep reading it. I don't know if I could even read Demon Slayer, though I will say that it has a bit. I think this one has a bit more comedy and charm in it that actually makes it a bit more of an enjoyable series. Yeah, more fun. The fact that the little sister is kind of cute in her own ways, despite the fact that she's a demon now. And then some of the other side characters look ridiculous and comical, and it's like, okay, so a bit more lighthearted, a bit more fun. So I'm like, okay, I could check that out. Of course, the one that other people recommended me was Black Clover. And then I was just like, why would you guys recommend me Black Clover? Why would you do this to me? Why do you want me to read Black Clover and talk about Black Clover?
Because some people enjoy seeing you suffer. That's why.
Well, I mean, if my SD Gundam Cross Rays poll was any indication, yes, considering that everybody picked Gundam Seed first. I'm so thankful that I didn't put Gundam Seed Destiny on that option first, because then they'd probably that probably would have made me bang my head on against the wall. Because it's
Will
like
you turn
if
your
I have
camera on for that?
Huh?
Will you turn your camera on for that?
what to bang my head against the wall.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it right now.
Oh.
I'm not doing it right now, Eric. I was referring to something for a different streaming series that we were doing, but I stopped doing. Was one of the games I was playing. I was playing SD Gundam Cross Rays. I put that poll up on Twitter when I first got the game. I'm like, okay, guys, which Gundam series do you want me to play through first in the game? Do you want it to be Gundam Wing, Gundam Seed, Gundam 00, or Iron Blooded Orphans? And a good majority of people chose Gundam Seed, and I'm like, I hate you all. Am I being trolled right now? You guys know how much I dislike the series, and you're gonna.
And that's exactly why they picked it. Do you not know the law of inverse pressure on the internet?
I gave them better options.
the more comedic rage and comedic frustration can be mined from you, the more people want to see it.
That's fair, but it just ends up me roasting the story. That's all that happens. It's not like I
yes,
just
and people enjoy roasts very well on the internet as well. Anything that can cause a person comedically over the top anguish, pain, or rage, and thereby get humor out of, people love.
I should do that more frequently.
It's the nostalgia critic / angry video game nerd effect.
I should do it a few more times, a bit more frequently, so that I torture myself. I mean, I did pick up the most recent live action Power Ranger movie. Maybe I should talk about that at some point.
Oh God!
I watched it. I will say one thing: it's not the worst form of Power Rangers media I've ever seen.
Wait, when you say the live action Power Rangers movie, do you mean the Ivan Ooze one, or do you mean
I'm referring to the modern reboot one that they tried.
Oh, okay. That one's actually not so bad, and I know that's sacrilegious to some too, but it's at least more tolerable than the Ivan Ooze one.
But I like the Ivan Ooze one because it was more hilarious. I actually laugh when he was making funny references, like all the things I've missed. The Spanish Inquisition, the Brady Bunch reunion, and things like that. I love that campy, really over the top bullshit.
Yeah,
they didn't do enough campy, funny stuff.
No, they basically did a remake of The Breakfast Club and tagged Power Rangers onto it.
Exactly, and that's why it was so goddamn boring. But still, it's not the worst form of Power Rangers media I've ever consumed. I'd say probably about second to third worst.
I actually don't mind the I think it was 2017 the movie came out. I don't mind that movie as much. I don't really mind the classic Ivan Ooze one either. It's fun to make fun of.
Yeah,
but
that is. I'm not going to say
the main problem I had with the 2017 one was they kind of set up that they were going to do a Breakfast Club kind of thing, and that was interesting. Mm-hmm. And then they set up the Power Ranger stuff, and that was interesting, but they committed to neither of these movies, so we basically got half of one movie that could have been good, and half of another movie that could have been good. And we ended up getting a movie that was sort of confused and bipolar the entire way through.
Yeah. Jonah, if you're being serious, I have to disown you. You can no longer be a mod on this channel if you're being serious. If you're saying that you like the Megazord and Goldar in that movie, I'm sorry. I will have to permanently ban you from this channel.
Oh yes, that's definitely a you need to kill the heretic moment.
That's the audience.
Yeah, fair point, but I don't care.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, kill the heretic, said the gay triple witch.
I think Joan might be joking, but I'm not sure. It's hard to tell, but I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't kick you. I was saying that they should change. Oh, you were saying that you should change it. I thought you were saying that you liked it. I'm sorry. I'm the one who's an idiot and misread things. I'm so sorry. Although it would have been a funny troll job if you said you did like it, because then it would be hilarious.
If I remember correctly, they took a lot of stuff from like Max Landis's script
Go ahead.
for. If I remember correctly, like for 2017 Power Rangers movie, they took a lot from like Max Landis's script for a Power Rangers movie, right?
I'm not sure.
Hmm.
I can't say for certain because I didn't look that far into it. I just watched the movie and I was like, could have been worse, but still not very good.
Yeah, I saw. I only ever saw it when it first came out. Like I went to the theater and watched it there.
I waited a few years before I watched it.
I was a big fan back then.
Oh, I'm still a big fan of Power Rangers, but not a fan of that one.
I've actually seen the 2017 one a couple of times. When it's on, I'll watch it because it's not that bad. And like I said, its main problem is it's made of two other movies that could have been better on their own. A Power Rangers movie that could have been better on its own, and a modern remake of The Breakfast Club that could have been better on its own. Somehow sandwiched together because of reasons.
Oh, Jonah has ideas to make the design for that Megazord work.
Good luck.
What was that? Ninja Steel or Beast Morphers? Beast Morphers is actually really good. I can't trash Beast Morphers because they actually put some goddamn effort into actually making a competent show. Ninja Steel is what I'm referring. It's not inconceivable because it's true. Ninja Steel is the one that I'm referring to, which is probably by far one of the worst forms of Power Rangers I've ever seen in my life. And that's not that. I mean, that's in competition with things like Megaforce and crap. And I'm like, I didn't think you could make anything any worse. How is this physically possible?
I couldn't. I tried to watch Ninja Steel, and I couldn't.
I suffered for your amusement. I suffer for your amusement, Dalton. Don't have.
Did you actually do like vlog reviews of that? I
did not. I didn't. I did a rant a few years ago, or a couple years ago, talking about how bad the series had become. But I don't think I did an official video talking about Ninja Steel because I didn't want to suffer through it again.
I think I stopped. Oh, I'm sorry.
I can understand why you didn't want to suffer through it again because, like I said, I couldn't. And I've been watching Power Rangers since around the 10th anniversary was when I first got into Power Rangers because I remember binge watching all the seasons. But God damn it, WoW Ninja Steel was just not good.
No.
It's almost Mystic Force's Mystic Cell Phones levels of why.
I would much rather watch Mystic Force again. And that one's not that great, but I would watch that one 10 times over ever watching Ninja Steel again. That's how much I dislike.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong.
It's like, if I have a choice, you put
watch
a gun
Mystic
to
Force
my
again
head.
because Magic Cell Phones, but
I would much rather suffer through that. And Mystic Force isn't exactly one of my favorites either, but at least it was slightly more competent than this.
Yes, it was recognizably something that had anything to do whatsoever with Power Rangers, which makes it better than Mega Force, RPM, and itself.
I came back to Power Rangers around Forever Red and left again after Ninja Steel. I cannot blame you for that, Shinobi, but I would recommend Beast Morphers. If you have an opportunity to watch Beast Morphers, it's significantly better.
Okay, so maybe they're
because that was the thing. What was it? No, go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry. I was just gonna say, well, at least it's trending back towards the good again. I'll have to check out Beast Morphers now.
Yeah, I definitely significantly better. I don't feel the comic relief is nearly as frustrating and as annoying, even though the characters are there every single episode. But
Mm-hmm.
Ben and Betty, I think, are better comic relief than the last two assholes because they felt like they just chewed up way too much of the scenery and time. When Ben and Betty are there, they're there for like maybe one or two scenes and then they're gone, and that at least makes it more tolerable. And at least they're trying to be helpful. They suck at it, but that's the point. They're there to be helpful, and they have their genuine moments of, oh, hey, they're good people, you know. I was around up to RPM, channel change, and we couldn't access it, then left and came back to Beast Morphers. Yeah. Are the Rangers still teenagers? Yes. Beast Morphers Rangers are still teens. I don't think we're going to be having older Rangers anytime soon.
Who gets out of their teens first, the Power Rangers or the Riverdale gang?
Rangers?
I think the Power Rangers, because at least for like the first 5 or 6 seasons of Power Rangers, they were like the same cast of people. Like it was variations on the main team from Mighty Morphin for the first like 6 seasons.
But did they let them age out? Because like I said, the people in Riverdale, hell, some of them are 30 playing high school.
Well, yeah, the original team of Power Rangers aged out a long time ago to the point that they brought back people from Mighty Morphin in seasons like Dino Thunder to be the new mentor figure. Yeah, so probably the Power Rangers.
The most popular.
Yeah, Tommy, because he's the first impulse of Power Rangers that everyone loved. So I've
even heard of him.
Yeah. They will be going back to the Tommy well for as long as the actor who plays him wants to come back and play him.
And he will forever. Because he's an egomaniac who loves to do it.
Well, I mean,
sorry.
If the fan base loves you as a character and you like playing the character, all the more power to you, as far as I'm concerned.
Hey, as hard as it is to get work in acting, anybody that's a beloved character in a role that you know is yours for as long as you want to play it, you'd have to be an idiot to leave that.
Yep. It's like as long as Matt Ryan wants to play Constantine, he will play Constantine to his heart's content, in my opinion. Because why would we want anyone else?
Yeah, I don't want Jason David Frank to leave, obviously. There's been issues and conflicts with him, but I still love Tommy as a character, and I still like him as an actor. So if they want to keep bringing him back, which they probably will do ad nauseum, I will just have to stomach through it. It's just the fact that I want other Rangers to come back.
Well,
they did it.
They'll probably keep bringing him back until they can finally have a Tommy entire team unto himself, because he's been almost every color at this point.
Oh, don't worry. They did that with Ninja Steel. They allowed him to transform into almost every single form he's ever had. He got to transform into every Ranger form he's had, most of them. Except for Turbo Red. He didn't get to have that form. But every other form he's ever had, he got to use in the anniversary episode for Ninja Steel.
I don't know if you guys. I don't know if you. It's related to Power Rangers, but I don't know if you ever pay attention to like fan films or anything. But there's like this series that's going on called Power Rangers Unworthy, like on YouTube. It's amazing, and it's like I
know about Power Rangers Unworthy. That's a fan project, and it's really, really good. Yeah, very solid.
I like it a lot more than that R-rated Power Rangers movie. Just because I didn't really
the trailer.
they made an R-rated Power Rangers movie?
Well, no,
There was a fan trailer.
Oh,
for it.
okay. All right.
It was like making fun of the grimdark approach to everything. I think, kind of.
yeah.
It was like, what if Power Rangers existed
if
in
you're
the
referring
Farscape
to something
universe?
that was a lot older than the, yeah. But Power Rangers Unworthy was a pretty good idea, using the concept of like Lord Draken and the multiverse type thing with Power Rangers, and having some sort of omnipotent ranger type being that deems all the ranger teams of every alternate universe unworthy and is hunting them down and killing them.
The Arbiter.
That was pretty cool. It's a pretty cool concept. Yeah, the Arbiter. Yeah.
It's basically the
but,
final season of
let's see.
Supernatural done right.
Probably. I wouldn't know.
For
That was
those-
really, really fun to Now what I was going to say is I should reiterate, it wasn't really very fun, but the anniversary for Ninja Steel, where they had Tommy come back along with a few other Ranger cameos, they had Rocky come back. Why Rocky? I don't know, because he was the most useless Ranger that anyone has ever had, because nobody cares
Because
about
he was
Rocky.
the actor who said yes to our summons. That's why.
They brought him back, and he got to wear his old Red Ranger uniform at least. But who else was there? They had the Blue Ranger from Dino. What was it? It was the more recent dinosaur one. What was it?
Dino Charge.
Dino Charge. Yeah, Dino Charge. The caveman. Coda. They had him. They had, what was she? I think she was the Silver Ranger from the RPM universe. And they had the Red Time Ranger. They had Wes in that episode.
Oh,
Which was cool to see Wes again, because they
Cool.
almost never bring him back. But still, the show got stolen by Tommy, because of course it did.
yeah.
And he got the
well,
special MacGuffin called the Master, and he got a special MacGuffin called the Master Morpher that allows him to change it to whatever form he God well pleases.
Well, let's be honest. He's had
why? I don't
he's
know.
had the narrative equivalent of that for a long time. Let's be perfectly honest. They're just acknowledging
you're
it
not
in
entirely
universe.
wrong. In Megaforce, he did switch between White Ranger and Green, but this time he was able to switch to all of them. He used Dino Thunder Black. He used his Zeo Ranger Red form, and I'm like, okay, now you have God powers. Where did you get this morpher? I'd like to know. It wasn't really
Well,
explained. I think they
maybe
explained it
that's what
in
they
a comic
used
book how he got it, but other than that,
maybe that's what they used the Zeo crystals for, and maybe that's why they had to stop using the Zeo crystals.
they use it to make Master Morphers. I know the more recent seasons of Beast Morphers has Austin St. John coming back, and I think he's got a Master Morpher too. I think, or he's just coming back. I can't remember. Of course, granted, he's only ever been two colors. He's been red and gold, so not exactly a large plethora of choices.
Maybe you'll screw himself a new.
But at least he's got. Thank God they aren't just bringing Tommy back again. I'm like, oh, thank God, please. Look, I love him, but bring somebody else back. If you're going to do cameo episodes, give me something different, please.
Honestly, I think it would be interesting to see Justin come back, Blue Turbo.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I don't think anybody cared about Justin enough, but
Well, because he's the one who was actually a kid as a ranger. So now having him be a mentor would be really interesting. Like, what if he had a really cool, like, backstory, or rather in between story of, like, after he was the Blue Turbo Ranger, he spent the rest of his life, like, finding the deepities of Ranger lore because he had more time than any other Ranger did, by virtue of being so young, and therefore was like a really, really awesome mentor figure as a result.
That could work.
Why can't Carter get any love? I'm trying to remember who Carter is. Is that sounds like a Red Ranger to me? Is Carter the one from Lightspeed Rescue? Shinobi, you're gonna have to refresh my memory because there's a lot of Rangers and a lot of names, and I can't remember everybody. Hulk, understand none of this. I know, Eric. We're really confusing you right now. We're in a different generational gap right now. I understand.
Just do what I did when the 10th anniversary rolled around, Eric, and binge watch all of the seasons of Power Rangers. It won't take you that long.
Yeah, just
I'll
nod
get
your
right
head
on
and just
that.
accept it. I mean, if you have Netflix, man, you could just watch whatever Power Ranger show you want. Have fun. Carter Grayson, Lightspeed. Yeah, I thought so. Lightspeed Rescues, Carter Grayson. Awesome leader. Awesome Red Ranger.
Wait, are all the Power Ranger seasons on Netflix?
Yeah.
I
All
did
of
not
them.
know that.
Yep,
I'm
you can
going-
watch them all.
I am going to I am going to use my weekend effectively for this.
You can
But
binge
I
watch
gotta-
everything.
I got like a kind of embarrassing thing, like story that relates to Power Rangers.
Okay, feel free to share.
Well, I think it's embarrassing. I don't know if you guys will, but this was back when I first started my channel, and kind of how I grew my channel in concept. Really, basically, I created a video where I wrote my own version of Power Rangers. That was like my second or first video ever.
Mm-hmm.
It was basically overglorified fan fiction, which actually is just my entire channel.
Yeah. But you're good at it, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but no, it's just like I created my own original version of Power Rangers. It's just like during that kind of dark time where there wasn't really any Power Ranger stuff going on. I was just bored and all.
Mm-hmm.
Power Rangers Crystal Force, I think I called it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I have seen several tokusatsu based channels discuss like potential either new versions of the Power Rangers or new versions of the Sentai. I heard one where they were using chess pieces as a potential idea. I actually liked that idea. I was like, heck yeah, you could do that. Why haven't they ever tried that before? Use game pieces or chess pieces, and then you could, like, the fights could involve a game of chess or something. Use the symbolism of a chessboard or something. The villains could have their side and the Rangers have their own. You know?
Yeah, and then the various power-up forms could literally be making you into a more powerful piece. Like you start as a pawn, and then you slowly ascend to the ranks and eventually become a queen, essentially.
Dehelium, what are you talking about? Lego
Why
verse?
not? A Lego verse of the Power Rangers.
I don't even know what that is. Carter was in Forever Red. That's the only reason I know who he is.
Much like Lego Batman.
Okay.
Which Power Rangers will Arnett do the voice of?
Tommy, of course.
There you go. I could have guessed that.
Well, I mean, if you really want to have some fun, Eric, if you watch the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, you could listen to Bryan Cranston.
Yeah. Guy did the voice of the monsters, or like
yeah, he voiced several monsters. One of them was
and then he got upgraded to Zordon.
Are you talking about Bryan Cranston, the Doug Donovan from the TV soap opera Loving? That Bryan Cranston?
I believe.
No,
Whatever
we're
happened
talking
to
about
him?
Howl from Malcolm in the Middle.
Do you ever go on to do anything else?
Apart from Breaking Bad.
Never heard of it.
Yep. But yeah, I didn't know that initially, but yeah, I found out that he voiced at least 3 monsters in the original Power Rangers. One of them was a rapping pumpkin.
You know what would be cool?
What?
Have Brian.
Cooler than a rapping pumpkin?
Rapping pumpkin monster. Yeah.
Well, in terms of Bryan Cranston in Power Rangers,
Yeah.
instead of having him be Zordon in the 2017 movie, have him be Goldar, like an actual version of Goldar. I mean,
I would have loved that. That would have been awesome.
Yeah.
But
Just seeing an actual version of Goldar, frankly, would have been nice, but whatever. Golden Golem is what we got, so reasons.
and
Also, while we're talking about the things in the 2017 movie that didn't make any sense, why was Rita's quote unquote updated design so similar to Divatox? Because I kept doing a double take over and over of like, why does she look so much like Divatox?
now that you mention it, I didn't put much thought into that, but you're right. Except
Like,
for
were they-
less annoying.
Were they setting up Divatox to maybe be the sequel villain, and they were gonna have her be like from the same race as Rita? Maybe that
I
would have been
don't know. I don't think they thought that far ahead. They just wanted a more attractive and sexier version of Rita. I think that was the goal.
God, that hurt my chest.
You okay?
Yeah, I sneezed a little too hard.
Don't feel bad. I've done that before.
Ah,
Don't die before you turn 21, please.
Also, Shinobi, I would highly recommend watching Lightspeed Rescue. I think you'll enjoy it. If you like Power Rangers and you like good team building based stories, that's the one you want to watch. Because Carter is probably one of the most underrepresented Red Rangers I have ever seen in my life. He almost never gets an invite to the reunion episodes or the special cameos, and it's a damn shame. He only got one that I'm aware of. Well, actually, no, two. If he was in Forever Red, that means he got two. He got to be in Forever Red, and he got to be in the Megaforce, Super Megaforce, I should say. Super Megaforce final battle for a little while.
Cringe.
that just sucked.
Yep. Like I said,
Cringe. Horribly.
highly underrepresented Red Ranger. Probably one of the best leaders ever. He's even better than Jason, and that's saying a lot.
As long as we're bringing back older characters to be the mentors of the newer ones, can we get I forget his name now, Green Samurai Ranger for Ninja Storm?
Cam.
Thank you.
yeah,
I couldn't
same.
for the life of me think of his name. Can we get Cam as a mentor? Because that would be really interesting.
If they ever decided to do another ninja themed one, yes.
Which won't be long because they have like three modes. They have dinosaur based season, they have magic based season, they have sci-fi based season, and then they have ninja. So
That's 4.
well, yeah, but you get my point. They
should go maybe.
tend to recycle themes a lot.
Bring back Bill?
I guess since Jungle Fury, you could throw in like animal based season as another one they return to a lot.
Yeah. The next season is going to be dinosaur again.
Yeah, like clockwork. So yeah, someone get Cam's actor back, so we can have Cam as the
You know
mentor.
You know what? So like something completely out of the blue, like for a season of Power Rangers, I would love to see zombies.
Yeah, I don't think that Toei's ever going to do that.
I think it would be an interesting or some type of dark mythology. I mean, yeah, that does fall into magic, obviously,
Yeah.
but
They kind of tried that with Mystic Force and it went horribly. So I hope they would at least do it better.
Shinobi, if I'm being honest, I think that David Yo's relationship with Power Rangers is significantly better now than it was when he left. So they might be able to get him back at some point, but I'm not 100% sure. But at least he's going to the conventions again. So, you never know. He might come back. if he was incentivized enough. They don't treat him badly anymore.
Wait a minute. I just had an idea that I now cannot unsee.
Uh-huh.
You guys know how they set up in Mystic Force that Rita eventually went good and became the quote unquote Mystic Mother?
I believe so, yeah.
What if she was the mentor in a season?
Ooh.
That would be interesting.
That would be so weird and awesome because it'd be like the original main villain going full circle and becoming a mentor, and then depending on how you wanted to play it, you could have her maybe die sacrificing herself at the end to kind of bring the character full circle,
Yeah.
or you could do other things with her. I'm just spitballing off of this idea just popped into my head.
Yeah. No, that's not a bad idea. It's definitely something you could work with. We already had evil rangers turn good and then become mentors. That's true. Tommy.
Okay. All the Tommy.
But well, Tommy initially was evil, or turned evil, and then turned good, then turned mentor.
If you read the
So it's
comics,
not out of the realm.
if you read the comics, it's Lord Draken, Billy, who was free from mind control but still chose evil. Actually, I kind of wish they do something like that in the live action.
The problem being they're kind of limited to what they can get from the Sentai. Which honestly, they could
actually, that's kind of
their own stuff. But we've been saying that for years.
Actually, that sounds like what Hasbro might be planning in the future. It sounds like after Dino Fury is over, the newest series that they're working on, they are going to be focusing more on in-house stuff. They are going to, at least, I don't know how confirmed it is, but it sounds like they're going to be stepping away from Toei and the Sentai and making their own thing.
You see, I don't
and
know.
for some people, that
that
spells doom and disaster.
Mm-hmm.
Some people consider that doom and disaster, but I'd prefer a wait and see approach to see if that's what they choose to do, and if they do decide to do that, will it work? Because here's the thing: several countries already do their own tokusatsu stuff on their own.
Mm-hmm.
You know, China does theirs. Korea does some. A bunch of them do their own. So why can't America do the same?
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it though, because so much of the flavor of Power Rangers has always been working around the Sentais. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, that's true. But they are limited in what they can do. They have to work around Sentai footage. They just have another option.
Mm-hmm.
So when they have story ideas, they have to work around them. One of the ones that's probably the most telling for Beast Morphers is using Go Buster footage and realizing that every time that there's a dog on screen, the Red Ranger freezes up because he's a cat and it's a dog, and that's his weakness.
Yeah.
And it looks really weird and ridiculous when it's used in Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Which is also why I think they tried to steer as much away from that as humanly possible.
Yeah.
Versus an evil double Rita.
That's kind of one of the main reasons I prefer original, like doing things original than like borrowing from other things. You get more creative freedom.
I mean, if they can make it work, then all the more power to them. But if they fuck it up horribly, like I suspect they might, then it'll go down in history as one of the worst things ever. So I don't.
Well,
it's high risk either way.
Yeah, they're rebooting their movies too, so whatever that will entail. Well, I mean, the last movie they did was a failure. Well, of course, granted, that was under Saban's watch. But Hasbro wants to make their own movies with Power Rangers.
Well,
and
but I mean, well, no, I guess by the time they actually get around to making it, it'll be 2022 or something. So, yeah, maybe. Because it feels so recent because the 2017 one feels like it just came out not too long ago.
You're right. It was only a few years ago. But by the time right now, I don't think they have any cast or anything. All they have is a writer. And I don't know if it was a writer and a director. I don't know all the details because I can't remember off the top of my head. But it sounds like it would have to do with like interdimensional time travel and going back to the 90s when the original Ranger team was formed. I don't know what
that entails. It sounds like they're playing with fire. But
potentially,
maybe they'll make it work. Who knows?
But because it sounds like they want to try and make their own kind of multiverse Power Rangers thing. They've already been working on building it with the comics, so it kind of
and the comics are really, really good. So if they're following the comics or they work in the comics somehow, then that works.
Or do they work the comic books into that particular continuity somehow? It could potentially work for them. Some of the videos I've seen about it have been, well, at least a couple of them was like doom, gloom, like, oh no, this is terrible. Like the Sentai is always so better. I'm like, well, yeah, the Sentai is always going to be better. If you want the Sentai, just watch the Sentai. Don't watch Power Rangers. No one's has a gun to your head.
I did have to say something about the movie. I kind of hope the Rangers, like the concept of the Rangers, is kind of more original for the movie, because I am kind of getting sick of them constantly like doing Mighty Morphin, you know?
Yeah. It would be better if we got to do something a bit different. My recommendation, if they're going to be making a new Power Rangers movie, my suggestion would be you can bring them back to the 90s. I don't think that's a big issue and whatnot. You can maybe have scenes where they meet the original Ranger team, not the actual actors, but at least suit actors that are wearing their uniforms.
What is in universe supposed to be the original team? Yeah.
Yeah. I would say start from scratch, an entirely new team, new powers, new everything, and work from that. Then that way, if everybody is disappointed, they won't have to remember that it's related to something like Mighty Morphin or something else like that. A whole new team of Rangers. Considering we're talking about potential time travel or alternate dimension shenanigans, there's no reason for it to be the original kids.
Yeah.
Also, it could be a whole entire new team.
Also, while you're meddling with the timeline anyway, you will get bonus points from me at least if you explain why the fuck they stopped using the Zeo crystals and moved to Turbo for no reason. Like I want the new I want the new team's powers to be Zeo Crystal based just to explain what the fuck happened to the Zeo Crystal all those years ago.
I don't know if the comic books ever explored that or not.
They probably morphed into Tommy.
I know they formed it. Yeah. Well, I remember they introduced a new team. Like they cobbled together a bunch of Rangers from different time periods and put them on a team. So
I
want to know where the hell those legendary powers came from. Are you referring to Tommy's Master Morpher? Or are you referring to Mega Force's legendary Ranger keys?
I think the Ranger keys is what they're referring to.
That's a good question. I don't know where Gosei got them. I preferred it much better for Gokaiger, where all of those Sentai teams had one final epic battle with an enemy, and then they lost all their powers, and it got transported across the galaxy. And then everybody's out there. Then the Gokaiters are just out there hunting for them. Oh yeah, you're okay. So you are referring to the powers introduced in Megaforce. Gotcha. Good on you. Because there were Ranger forms that were in that show that they didn't bother to edit out for some reason.
Which we
Megaforce was a mess.
why didn't you use those? Or who were they if you're not going to explain who they were?
This has become the Power Rangers live show, Power Hour.
It's been a while since we've had one of those, because I remember you, me, Switchpoint, and Ozchris doing a couple Ranger shows.
Yeah, we did do those, but the only reason why I haven't been doing them is getting in contact with Ozchris is incredibly difficult to do, or getting him pinned down. I haven't tried to. I tried a couple times to get him on stream to hang out with me, but
what did happen to
a conflicting schedule.
Okay. As long as there was no drama.
He's still
or
making
anything.
videos. His channel is. I don't know of any drama related, but
okay,
he's fine as far as I'm aware. I've talked to him a few times. He just made a video today talking about a really bad anime that's coming out, or by bad I mean it looks horribly animated. That is supposed to be a Crunchyroll original, and I'm like, oh joy, this will be probably fun to roast because it looks goddamn terrible.
Yep. Somebody get the marshmallows. Looks like we're gonna have to kill something with fire.
Mm-hmm. And why was Gosei asleep for so long if he was supposed to respond to major threats? Was he the contingency plan? No, obviously not, because Earth's been under threat multiple times and he does nothing. Yeah.
Okay, guys,
Jonah summed up it perfectly. There's a reason for that. See to the next episode about explaining shit. Exactly, John. Exactly. That was Gosei's go-to excuse. There's a reason for that. And then move on.
There's a reason for that, which I'm not going to explain because look over there, runs away.
Hey guys. So I'm gonna call it for the night. I'm beat, to be honest.
Yeah.
Would you mind a slight plug before I go, Wolf?
Huh?
Would you mind if I do a slight plug?
He's asking to show.
Yeah.
Anytime you're ready.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear you.
Awkward silence was awkward.
That needs to be on a t-shirt. Anyway, so every Sunday, me and the Authenticator, Dalton, and maybe some guests, if they ever want to pop on, do a podcast at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time called Podcast of the Storm. If you guys want, just come and check us out whenever. We talk about nerdy shit all the time, usually, and go on rants and stuff. It's basically like this every week.
Uh-huh.
All right. Yeah. All right. I will see you guys whenever, wherever. Peace.
See ya.
See ya, Brainstormer.
Have a good night. I was probably actually going to end the stream here in a bit. We've been going for 3 hours, so I think it's a good time to call it. Since I stopped talking about comics and manga, and we just moved into Super Sentai, and I'm pretty sure we've bored Eric to death. He's pretty much comatose at this point. He hasn't said
he needs to resolve it by instead of watching games as his go-to filler for when he's reading, he needs to start putting Power Rangers on.
Oh shit! I'm still here.
I know.
Why didn't anybody tell me I was still here?
I don't know.
Yes, you knew.
No, I appreciate you coming, Eric. It was nice having you on again.
It's always nice to be on with you guys. I mean that.
Yeah, I know.
I always,
I know you're not lying. You wouldn't lie to me,
Unfortunately, I said I always learn things, but unfortunately, at my age, I've usually forgotten them by the end of the evening.
Totally. Sorry. Yeah. I get it. But that's what happens.
I'm
when
sure
you put a
there's
bunch
enough.
of Power Rangers fans in here.
I'm sure there's enough space left in your brain, Eric, to download the entire history of Power Rangers, especially with videos like Wankara's History of Power Rangers that will essentially sum up Power Rangers for you.
I'm on it.
And by that he means he'll get on it never.
I'm gonna hold you to it, Eric.
On the 13th of Not a Chance in Hell.
Watch Power Rangers, Eric.
Yeah, I think I
you
have
don't
one
have
of
to
the
force it.
movies, but I keep hearing every time because I know I have a live action Kamen Rider, and then Chris said, "Oh God, don't watch that." So I never know what's good and what's not good. So if I've been paying
do
attention,
a video where I explain the shows you should watch?
Yes, that would be a good idea.
Yes.
Help a brother out.
I've considered doing a video like that in the past where I would rank all the Ranger shows as it stands, but I haven't gotten around to it. I had started it, but I haven't gotten back to it in a long time. And I know that for you, Eric, and also for Englentine, because he's started to read some of the Power Ranger comics, and he mentioned that he doesn't understand the history very much or what's going on. So either doing a short history lesson on the series, or at the very least ranking all the shows and which ones are worth a watch might be something I should do.
No, all kidding aside, that'd be a cool video. I would definitely watch it and hopefully get an idea or two, because all this stuff sounds fun. It's just finding time to watch them with all the other time sucks that I have in entertainment. But speaking of, while I've got you guys here,
I'll believe you.
I noticed you guys have been conspicuous by your absence on the Saturday night auctions lately.
I apologize for that. I was going through some stuff a few weeks ago, personal issues, and but also the other reason is I would love to be there, but I'm always concerned that I'll be too tempted to buy something, and I don't have very much money right now. So I'm like, I can't do it. Every time when I'm either watching, I'm like, oh, I would love that book.
Neither of compulsive
but I can't. And
I don't have PayPal
tempting.
for that very reason, because I would go crazy on some of those. But you don't have to explain. I said you said you asked.
Yeah.
You went,
I already did.
Nuts earlier in the year and missed 7 of them. So it's
yeah. So,
but it is always nice to
that's
see you
kind of
guys
why I've
pop
avoided
in.
it. Yeah, you know what? If I have time this week, I will try to pop in and at least say hello and watch for a bit.
That'd be cool.
The funny thing was my mom said, like, oh, hey, you know what? It's okay. You can maybe buy a few books, so long as if you don't go overboard, I'll help give you some money to buy them. I'm like, Mom, do you know who you're talking to? Have you seen the last few times I've been at the auction? I'm a bit of a high spender at this point. I'm a bit of a high spender. The last ones I only bought like what was that, like 3 or 4 books, and they were one of Englantine's quarter book sales. They're right down here, I think.
Yeah, see, this is why I still haven't spent the Trump stimulus money that I got, because I know me, and I know that once I start shopping, I'm going to splurge and get like 500 things that I either won't need or will look more appetizing when I'm shopping, and then when I get it, it'll be like, why did I buy this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I also have a personal rule against returning things, so it'll be like, oh, well, now I'm stuck with this. Damn.
I'm unfortunately, E's two biggest
Shinobi, your
high rollers
recommendation
are
is
gone.
noted. Do a top most recommended Ranger season. I do apologize for that.
Oh, did the people
I'm
who
not the
were,
highest of high rollers, but
did the people who
But
were
I-
really driving the prices up disappear, Eric?
No, it wasn't. Darkness Comes he just had deeper pockets. I mean, he was, I think, but he was also really, really high maintenance, and I think he finally got pissed off and left. And there was another guy, Rock City, who would come in drunk and buy shit because he was drunk, and I think Maranya banned him.
Oh, well.
no.
Anyone who
well,
jumps into Eglantine stream should know better than to run afoul of Maranya, because Maranya is our personal treasure.
I said I've got my own seat in the naughty corner in a video to prove that.
Yes, you do.
Yep.
Speaking of, have you watched my
she's the
Halloween special yet, Eric?
Dalton, I'm going to be perfectly honest. I will, but I went in, I clicked on it, and I saw it was an hour and 30-something minutes. I said, "Oh, fuck no!" I said, "I'm gonna have to get back to that one," because it was like 2:30 in the morning when I clicked on.
Well, it's broken into 3 parts, each of which that are about a half an hour long. So that should make breaking it up easier.
Oh, that's no problem. I said, but when I click on something that late at night and I see it's out, I go, I can't do it. And but I will definitely check it out.
Because I need the views and the engagement. So
all right, I will definitely. Yeah, I said I may even do that during the 4th quarter of this game.
Good Lord.
Go for it.
Wait, don't trash my sports watching right after you asked me to watch one of your videos.
Well, my videos are better, is the thing.
I'll be the judge of that.
They're more educational and informative. But okay. So Shinobi, maybe that's what I'll do. I will do a recommended Ranger seasons video. That's probably a better idea than me just ranking every single one of them, because that will take me more time. Because I need to at least revisit one other Ranger season. Oh wait, no, 2 other Ranger seasons. I would have to revisit Samurai, which I haven't fully watched very much, except for that I know it's bad. And also the other one that's also not considerably very well, which is Power Rangers Turbo. So
Turbo.
I will have to consider my options and recommend the seasons that I think are the best ones. And Joan, no, I'm not doing that video. I don't want to get banned off YouTube. I don't want to be yeeted off the internet. Thanks very much.
Ouch.
Dalton has boring educational videos. Mindless games better. No brain for it.
Wait,
don't be
who
mean.
said what now about me?
Jonah said Dalton has strikingly good videos that everybody should watch.
I don't think that's what was said, but
Yeah.
You see it your way. I hear it my way.
I can't see the chat, so someone literally needs to tell me what the person said.
Why don't you just say that's what you
I don't know
said?
if I should. It might insult you. I already did say it.
Go ahead.
I was like, boring educational videos. He said Dalton has boring educational videos. Vids, mindless game better, or no brain for it. It feels like a little bit of broken English, to be honest.
Well, maybe you need a little education based on how broken your English is there, mon frere.
All I know is we need to find 5 more subs for Dalton.
Yes, I'm 5 subscribers away from 100, and it was it was 4, but someone either was fed up with waiting for me to make videos, even though I just made one, and unsubscribed, or YouTube's algorithm unsubscribed them. So everyone who is subscribed to me already, check and make sure you're subscribed, because YouTube might have deleted you from my subscriber count.
And you know what you get in 5 more subscribers, don't you?
What?
You get a useless thank you from YouTube.
Well,
Or congratulations.
I will take it. At least I will have accomplished something YouTube related.
Yeah, when Quirks was stuck on 98 or 9, yeah, I got to 100 before he did with my 15 minutes of content. But this guy in one of my other groups, it goes by Just Pele, said, I just got my congratulatory 100 video or 100 subscriber thing from YouTube. He goes, it would be even better if I'd had any content. And I sent that to Quirks, and I thought he was going to come through the screen at me.
I can imagine, because I have I have all of my own videos, and I have quite a lot of the guest appearances I make on other people's channels in playlists, and I have every episode of the podcast I've done with Brainstormer in a playlist. So that would vex me if it happened to me too.
Life ain't fair.
Trust me.
No, but when you don't have any other marketable skills other than being intellectual and occasionally entertaining, you kind of need to make something of this whole attempt to be an entertainer thing.
Well, and then I feel kind of bad because I'm neither of those things, and I got.
Yes, thank you. We know, Eric. No, shut up.
Well, okay, so just for perspective's sake, Dalton, don't feel bad. I've been teetering between the 930 sub count for a while. I can't even break to 1,000 at this point. I continue to bleed subscribers almost every time I post something, so don't feel too bad, because every time I feel like I post something, I feel I lose a little bit of my soul, so...
Yeah, well, yes, that is true too.
You don't need 100 subs, trust me, because at this point, I doubt I'm even... Most of my subscribers don't even come to my videos, so...
Well, and I'm going to say something to back that up. You guys know who the channel Thinking Critical... You've heard of it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just found out from Wes today that the only videos that he makes that average more views than the ones he makes with me is Clownfish TV.
Of course.
And I go, well, hey, if you're going to lose them, my video, beat the crap out of the one he did with Yellow Flash. So I thought that's cool. But he and I make
that takes me back.
That dude has over 200,000 subs now.
Yeah,
good
for
him, but also that's mildly depressing.
Oh, I know. Ian and I make the same kind of videos that Wes and I make, and I said we can't get anywhere with ours. So I guess what I say it's all a crapshoot.
Yeah,
none of it means anything. So I said it's Dalton. I kind of look at it as your channel. You're kind of like a bar band that's a well kept secret that anybody that knows of it, will go see you play every time.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to guys that that have all these subs that you may catch an occasional video and watch a couple minutes of it and then move on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. My main problem is I need to make more videos more consistently, but for the longest time, my sleep issues get in the way of that, because I do my videos stream of consciousness for the most part, and if you ever gone a night without sleeping before trying to do a creative project, you know exactly how well that goes. Yeah. But fortunately, recently I started this new variety of sleeping pills, and they seem to work pretty good, so hopefully, in the near future, I will get on something resembling a more consistent upload schedule, and that will help things along. Maybe.
I hope so, because the older you get, the bigger pain in the ass that is.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I see Shinobi mentioning Yellow Flash and say unattaining rage peddler. Accurate and fair.
Uh-huh.
Because that's the reality that I've accept that the only way, because I know that's how it works, because if you look at my most popular videos, it's me being angry about something, or taking shots at somebody, whether they're legitimate or not, depending on how you look at it. My videos about Dan Slott and Spider-Man, highly popular. My most popular video is me ranting about Final Fantasy 15 and how much I hated it. My Power Rangers rant actually did relatively well, and surprisingly did better than World Class Bullshitters rant on the Power Rangers movie. Surprisingly enough, I was like, "Wait, I actually beat them out on view count? That's a shock."
Nice.
That's a milestone, sir.
Yes.
I'll take my wins where I can get them, because I'm not a rage peddler. So,
Yep. Oddly enough, my most popular video is a response video I did to somebody, and the person I
That's
was
normally
doing the response video to actually ended up tweeting out the video. So I was
good
very,
job.
I was very pleased with that. It was, I honestly, I should do more response videos, because it seems like every time I do a response video, it goes well, because I did one response video to Dr. Random Cam, and that went extremely well. And then I did another response video to Kyle Kolinsky from Secular Talk, and that did pretty well too. So maybe I
Yeah.
should just do more of those.
The thing is, especially with like the outrage content that's on YouTube and whatnot, in particularly, it's short-lived. It's not the problem is right now, at least currently, it's not 2016 anymore. And I think YouTube is wiser to that now than it was before, even though those channels are still growing. But they're only growing because they can make really uninformed or just half-assed content that takes about 10 minutes of their time, do clickbait, rage-inducing bullcrap, and get views. And they do it about 3 times a day. That's the only reason why they have any form of traction, is because they have that ability to be consistent. It's not because
Now, granted, there are also consistent people who do that, who make like 2 or 3 videos a day, like
Yeah.
Six Hexenhammer or Tim Pool, who are really good at it.
Yeah, it depends on who they are, but the formula is, if you can post 3 videos a day, which most people can't do, and I'm referring to the more lazier creators who do it just because they can, or because they want to be outraged, in quotations, over something that they normally have less information on or don't share any information on. And
That's true. I mean, I the ones that I do with Wes and the ones I do with E
yeah,
tend to be negative in nature, but I try to be more analytical than just rant
Yeah.
and rave. I mean, we did one, why I don't read Marvel comics, and that got to 5,000, which blew me away, because that's 5,000 people that have seen my face now.
Mhm.
And there's only 10 downvotes. But I even made a point at the end of the video to say, now I don't, lest you think I want Marvel to go away. I said, it's far from it. I said, I want Marvel to succeed, even if it's not for me, because it's better for fans, retailers. It's better for everybody.
Yep.
So I try to temper my I don't think I ever lapse into rage, but I do lapse into disappointment. But then I try to bring it back to, except for Batgirl 50. I mean, that was just 4-color cringe.
Depending on the situation, I think determines, whether you choose to look at it from an analytical standpoint, or you look at it through just the lens of, oh my dear freaking Lord, what have you done? Like, you're the most disappointed parent in the world, and you want to take the child to the back of the shed and get the Switch. And I'm not talking about the Nintendo Switch. I'm talking about the one that involves their rear. And I get that. And the funny thing is I don't just get that way with companies anymore. I get that way with creators too on the platform, because I have issues.
Cough, EVS, cough.
I don't care about him anymore. But to be honest, his content barely even shows up in recommended to me, if that says anything. But you know, I still on occasion I'll see Yellow Flash or I'll see Young Rippa video or somebody's. Clownfishes has showed up a few times when I was looking for Power Rangers based content or something like that, and they did a video talking about the current situation with Power Rangers, and it's like, okay, this was kind of crappy video. Thanks for that, but nice try, I guess? Question mark.
And I will say that Yellow Flash is a lot less bombastic than he used to be.
Yeah, he's gotten better. I'm not gonna lie.
He actually comes off as much better informed than he used to.
Yeah.
And I actually don't. I mean, I've left a lot of these people behind. I will still watch a decent amount of his because, like I said, he tends to be more factual than just ranting to hear the sound of his voice.
Yellow Flash has a special place in my heart just because he was the first like bullshit celebrity YouTube drama I was ever involved with. His attacks on me and England team back when he made the blacklist and the fallout from that is probably the first YouTube drama I was ever involved with, and it was hilarious. So he'll always have a special place in my heart just for that.
Well, when he was just getting big, he led off one of his videos with one of my move the needle tweets. And I always, and so I always, it had a special place in my heart for him because he did that. I mean, he didn't know me from a hole in the wall and still doesn't, but it was cool to see. But
it's always weird when something you do online makes it into something else bigger and better.
Oh yeah, but unfortunately for me, he had about 1,500 subs at the time, and not the 200,000 he has now.
Well,
but, you said something to him about him once. It's probably the hardest you've ever made me laugh. you just in the middle of a conversation, you just dropped the line "slow-witted speedster." That made me laugh.
Was it or was it not accurate at
the time? Well, hell, compared to you, we're all slow-witted, but
I wouldn't quite go that far, but
that made me laugh. I gotta admit that was a good one.
That's a good burn.
And you make me laugh consistently, so I'm not saying that was a one-off. I mean, so you are very witty, so that makes I said
I do my best, and I do my best not to be egotistical about it either. But I appreciate the compliment.
Yeah, the situation with you guys and Flash and whatnot, I was even involved in that too. So
I remember that was one of my favorite streams that we ever did was the bitching about Yellow Flash being a duplicitous fuckwit stream.
I don't remember which one that was or where that came from, but I was just sick of this bullcrap. The thing was,
like I said, I bear absolutely zero ill will towards him now, and he's gotten a lot better over the intervening years. It's just he'll always in my brain be, oh yeah, that guy who called the gay bottom a dick sucker, as though it were an insult.
Hey Dalton, I know you can't see the chat, but you are now one step closer. You have picked up a sub.
Yep.
Okay. Well, watch my videos while you're over there as well. I don't want pity subscribers. I want people to be subscribed to me because they enjoy my content, if at all possible. So feel free to sample the old wares while you're over there as well.
I would say so. It's Shinobi. It's just up to you.
Yeah. You'll probably watch a video or two. Who knows? I hope so. But I don't know. It's kind of one of those things where I had to deal, well, not just with Yellow Flash, because there were videos that I did that are still on the channel right now where I discuss certain topics because I was seeing people getting outraged for some of the most minor things. I'm like, am I watching the alternate universe version of the SJW mindset here? Because it certainly feels like it's like everyone's getting pissed off over some of the most minute things that I have ever seen in my life. I'm like, I have never seen people so goddamn triggered in my life. And I thought
If you haven't caused people to be arbitrarily angry at you for no reason over stupid shit on the internet, you haven't made it yet. That's why I'm so fond of Yellow Flash now, because he was the first person to fit that milestone with me.
Yeah. Well, it was because, like, what was it? I did videos talking about Final Fantasy VII Remake, and I referred to One Angry Gamer because I'd already known how far down the rabbit hole that particular individual has gone.
Ooh, yeah.
And yeah, I got some backlash for that. I got backlashed. I wouldn't say super hard, but I definitely know I got bombed on the videos because I actually defended Final Fantasy VII Remake, and
I remember that.
That was hilarious. I did 3 different videos discussing it, and I'm like, seriously, guys, get a life.
I can't understand anybody having a problem with somebody liking something or disliking something. I mean, I said each person's opinion is their own, and that may be the only thing that they are truly entitled to, because it is just that, an opinion. So to criticize somebody for liking something is, I said, you can be as outraged as you want, and you can dislike everything, but when you turn around and turn on somebody for liking that same thing, that's when you lose me. You know, if for no reason.
Now, there's a difference between being outraged at somebody for liking something and having substantive, like, criticism in response. Like, if somebody makes an argument, I think everyone should be entitled to respond to that argument.
Oh, I agree, but I'm saying, you know, Nightwolf says he likes Final Fantasy VII. For me to say, well, you're an idiot for liking that, that's a disingenuous
or Diana Fire or any of the more creative,
right? Because I said it's, you know, you can say,
come up with,
you know, this is why I don't, and I don't understand why you do, but not, you know, I said that's because it's all subjective,
right? That's true. The situation with One Angry Gamer was kind of funny because it was a response to his article because the Final Fantasy VII Remake was under development for a long time. They had shown some of the characters. They showed the main character, Cloud. They showed Barrett. And they showed Aerith. But the one character that everybody was talking about that hadn't been shown yet was Tifa. And my response involved her announcement and when they finally showed her for the remake. Because in the back of all of these tiny-brained individuals, they were terrified that she would be the most ugly butch version of herself they could possibly have thought of in the back of their heads.
Wait. Didn't you and I end up doing a stream about that? I thought there was a stream we did about that, because I remember you telling me about this. And how I thought it was stupid.
Because the first article that he wrote involved Tifa's cup size and what she was wearing, because they redesigned the characters, which they did to everybody, by the way. They didn't just do it to her. Everybody got a redesign. But that were still faithful to the original game from 1997. And the fact that it's like, okay, if I can identify this character as the character that I remember from my childhood, I think they did okay. You know, they got really upset and butthurt over the fact that I called them out on it because it was ridiculous and stupid.
Now, granted, there is a negative trend in remakes, especially, of either changing a character to make them overly sexual or desexualizing them entirely, when the character's attractiveness was supposed to be important to them. But if you're going to react explosively to even the minorest change in a character's design, and there's no evidence of it being an agenda, then at that point you actually have become a literal conspiracy theorist.
No, wasn't that the kind of rage that needed to be saved for The Last of Us?
And basically his article was nothing but his entire article on Tifa, which he did about like 2 or 3 of them, was just nothing but unadulterated cringe from One Angry Gamer. I'm like, dude, do you go outside at any given point? Do you live your life? Do you kiss your girlfriend, your wife, or significant other? Do you go outside at all, or do you just live in your basement and just write shitty trash cringe articles that would make The Verge look legitimate? Because I'd love to know.
Good goddamn, those are fighting words, man. Goddamn.
I'm not kidding. I wish I was. I am not.
No, I know you're not
He
kidding.
can
That's what makes
make
it
me
such,
cringe
such an
just
oh
as
my,
much as Verge can,
like an oh
or
fuck
if not
move.
worse than that. It was
Next,
like, seriously.
you'll be telling me he
That's
makes
how bad it
Polygon
was.
look legitimate.
Yes, he does. He makes all the other websites that talk about games look far more legitimate with his outrage bullshit. Also, it turns out, surprisingly enough, he's not exactly the saint that people would probably think he is anyway. Because I remember Oppabend actually calling him out. It wasn't a direct call out, but it was some revealing and very telling messages from some of their, or from certain people's talks with Mr. I think his name is Adam. I don't remember. The guy who's in charge of One Angry Gamer. And let's just say he's a racist piece of shit. I'm just going to say it.
In actual
in
way,
context.
or they call everything racist.
I'm actually talking in a fairly legitimate way. He is, unless he's just trying to be an edgelord, which is slightly possible. The dialogue he used was not pleasant, and it was directed at people of other races and whatnot. And I'm like, well, now I don't feel so bad about roasting this asshole.
Kill it with fire, man. Kill it with fire.
But yeah, I do remember. Oh, what was it? What's going on? Hold on. Oh, Eric is leaving for a bit. Okay. But what was it? I did a video. I think it was like about several months ago, or about a year ago. Because video games are one of my main hobbies, and it's the thing that I'm probably the most invested in half the time, aside from maybe anime and manga. So I've mentioned this to Tehelium, the avatar I'm using right now in the chat right now. There was some form of quote unquote controversy over a stream that the Western developers were talking on a stream about jokes for Trails of Cold Steel, and jokes and comments that the characters make and whatnot, and talking about translation and saying that sometimes they had to translate, misogynistic or overly inappropriate comments in the game. And people made outrage videos on it, and I called them out on it. I'm like, okay, if you guys can point it to me, because it's just a couple of the people who are part of staff that are talking about it, but you're not showing me where it actually is in the game. If you could show it to me, I could be just as angry with you as, as anybody else. If you can give me some, some context, I would absolutely be on your side. But then I called it out. I'm like, I don't see any context involved here. What are we referring to? Is it so bad that it ruins the translation? Because that's what I want to know more than anything. Because I've been preaching my love for this game probably for several months now for Trails of Cold Steel. And I absolutely love this game. And if they're doing really bad, horrible translation job, I want to know about it. And I'm pretty sure a lot of the people who actually buy the game, who are actually fans of the game, would like to know these sorts of things. Like, how bad is it? How frequently are they censoring or changing the content? And what are those changes? And does it ruin the experience of the game? Because Trails of Cold Steel is a very thoughtful, very well planned out, very lore, story-driven, character-driven game that's probably one of the best role-playing games from Japan I have ever, and I'd like to know what's been changed. They had nothing. They could not give me anything. Because I went to their videos first and asked them, because I had heard about it. I'm like, okay, I'd like to know some context. Give me the context. Is this Fire Emblem Fates levels of cringe? Because I'd like to know before I potentially buy this game. And I got crickets. Instead, I got yelled at for asking the all-important question of, do you know what parts of the content have been changed, and does it severely hamper the game's translation?
Yeah, it's just like everyone
And in my
is,
video, I got comments from people who actually did know.
like everyone is
Go ahead.
getting ready to arrange an angry mob, and you're the one guy who's like, guys, why are we mad? And they all just turn on you.
What? Yeah, pretty much. It's like, why are you pissed? Could you please explain? That was actually pretty interesting because I didn't plan on making a video discussing it until I had more context. And then, but I can't remember which. It was one of those, the female, I can't remember her name. It was somebody, she's gotten into fights with some of other people that we know, like Lord Nurgle and whatnot. And I was just curious. I was like, I want to know. It's like, is there any more context out there? This game is already out now. Can you point me to it? And I got nothing. And it was the people in my own comment section for the video that I did end up making that they said, oh, you think that this is bad? The last, people who were translating the game did plenty of mess ups and screw ups with their dialogue and whatnot. Xseed had their own issues to deal with too. So it's like, okay, so if that's the case, then is there any real difference? And they said, no, the games are fine as they are, So that just tells me. So people got mad over the fact that somebody mentioned something, but couldn't verify it. So what a waste of time. There was so much heat for defending the new Tifa design. I know! It didn't make any sense. She looks fantastic. We're talking about the first...
Yeah. I remember doing the stream on that.
We're talking about my first waifu ever in history of video games. And if I'm in full approval of it, what's your problem? If the redesign was so terrible, wouldn't I be the one up in arms probably more than anybody? Trust me, I would have been there with a pitchfork and a torch, right there with you. But I looked at it, I'm like, nope, this is definitely Tifa, and I like what I'm seeing. Give me more of that, please, and thank you.
Thank you, sir. I will have another.
Exactly. Now, if she ended up looking terrible, then I would have had serious questions. And it's not like this had been the first time she was redesigned either, so their outrage was uninitiated and a waste of time. But it did make for fun content for a while. Anyway, we talked even longer than I intended to.
Yeah, you said about an hour ago you were thinking of ending the stream there, and then about an hour later, we're still here.
Yep. We got to this whole, You're right, Shinobi. Just because her boobies aren't bouncing all over the place doesn't mean censorship or woke agendas. Nope, because the director even said that there was no agenda. The director, people even mistranslated what he said even to try and spin it as some form of bullshit merchant selling. And I'm like, seriously, guys, you're going to disrespect the director of the game in that fashion. Dear frickin' Lord. Link other channels here. I can't do that. Jonah, can you do that for me? Or Shinobi, both of you guys are mods, so if you want to link other people's channels, feel free to do so. I don't have anybody's channels up currently.
I'd have to look to see if I
can
still
link
have
them
one.
if you can. I know Joan. Yep. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna end the stream. Everybody can peddle their wares if they wish. That's completely fine. Eric, you want to go first?
Sure. Don't forget to check out the Anglintine's Saturday night auctions. Coincidentally, they're held on Saturday night. Usually start between 8 and 9. And look for me in future I Love Comics and Thinking Critical videos. That's it.
I volunteer Shinobi. Making him do the work? Joan, you're the one who linked Brainstormer's channel. I thought you were prepared. Jesus, man. It's not like I plan for who's going to be host and whatnot anymore. I just kind of just do things. Last time when I planned something, my guest star left me halfway through, and then I had to continue without him.
Plans make pain. Plans make a lot of pain.
No, it wasn't a bad thing. Rabbit just had to go. He had some personal stuff he had to take care of.
How is he, by the way? I remember.
Wished it didn't have to come to that. But,
I remember doing the Castlevania. Was it season 2? We did a stream, you, me, and Rabbit talking about Castlevania.
Yeah, I think so.
Which we didn't do for
okay.
season 3. Come to think of it, so maybe when season 4 comes out, we'll have to do that again. Anyway, if we'll
see what happens.
If we're doing the showing, I guess I should do mine. Hi folks. My name is Dalton Mortimer. I am the Authenticator. My channel here on the YouTube is called The Authenticator. I'm a bit weird. Basically, if there's a topic of weirdness that you can think of, I've probably talked about it or something adjacent to it at some point in the past or in the future. I talk about magic and occultism. I talk about pop culture. I talk about politics and geekery in general. I talk about history. Talk about philosophy, mythology. It's a grab bag of every weird thing you can think of. So if any of that sounds appealing to you, or the intersection of any of those things sounds appealing to you, find your way over there. You can also follow me on Twitter at The Authenticator, but spelled without a U because Twitter is stupid and won't provide me with enough characters to spell the entire thing. And you can find me pretty much everywhere else at The Authenticator, just spelled normally. Cheers, guys.
Yep. Dalium, you are next on
the shilling?
The board.
Alrighty.
Yes, shill away.
Shalom and good day all. Well, you can find me on Tehillim29, to which I do a lot of reviews, as well as Fool's Gold on a lot of Brian Michael Bendis stuff. But I will also cover things like Vault reviews, such as things that I consider noteworthy to be basically thrown into your vault. I also have a website called Rainbow Press and Comics, to which you can also go and check out some of my reviews, also for anime, manga, comics.
Okay. All right. So my Twitter is linked down below, Nightwolf Game. If you want to follow me on Twitter, if you are not someone who is probably already following me, like most of the people in this chat, feel free to follow me if you want to. You're free to do so. If I have the time, we will probably do another one of these next week. If I manage to read enough books, I'm looking at some of the books that I have. Maybe I will do some independent comic books along with some manga this go around. We have Captain Harlock, Space Pirate. I plan on actually, this will be the next manga I start reading. I'm going to finish this volume. Space Pirate Dimensional Voyage, Volume 1. We have... I do need to catch up on these because I want to talk about them again and whatnot, but we have... Hold on. Can I do this? There we go. That's a lot better. There we go. We have Black Ops Volume 3, from Tim and Mark. I'm gonna try my best to read this because it has been sitting on the back burner for a very, very long time, and we should read that. Actually, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try and focus on all of these independent books I have here that are stockpiled. Brian Shearer's Gunship Thunder Punch will probably be a very fun read because I like giant robots, as everyone is very well aware. Let's see. Mike Miller's Lone Star, Heart of the Hero is here. The reprint that he did, I will try to read this one. And then another book from Matthew Weldon is the artist. I do not know the writer very well. Someone by the name of Fowler, but it is Sechio 66, which is kind of an Ultraman story. Hey, we'll be doing another Ultraman style character. But that's what I'm going to schedule and plan for. And hopefully we can have some fun and talk about those books. There's part of me that kind of wishes I could get those people to talk to me on stream sometime, because I would like to do that again. It's been a long time since I've reached out and talked to Tim. We tried to do a stream it was about a year or so ago, and that failed terribly because that's when I killed my laptop because I spilled tea on it. So, no, it's a complete laugh. Laugh at my misfortune because it's hilarious.
The laptop was not prepared for the tea.
No, it was not.
That tea came in for an
It
assassination.
was a war to end all wars. It did not survive.
The tea was like, I'm about to end this laptop's whole career.
Yep, pretty much. It served me well. But yeah, that's going to be the end of the stream. Look forward to next week, guys, because I will try and do this again next week, and we'll see who we can corral to join us. If anybody who was already here wants to, that's fine. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video or stream. Actually, it'll be a video because I got some videos on the back that are ready to go. And I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.
Good night, kids.